Virtual Drift Masters is back in 2025 and it's coming in hot. This season, 10 Drift Masters pros step into the sim to battle 40 of the last season's best virtual drivers in a showdown like no other. With 7 rounds of high-stakes action and top 32 broadcasts every Sunday, the stage is set for something legendary. And calling all the action, you may ask? It's me, Tiny, bringing the hype, the energy, and every tire-shredding moment. This is Virtual Drift Masters 2025. Let's go.
Oh, the shadow packs the wall, almost throws it away as Hynes backs it in across the line.
Unbelievable again. What a final. What a finish. Rory Hynes is your 2024 champion.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Virtual Drift Masters. My name is Jonathan Tiny Warbe. I just got a message from the judges saying that this is where they're going to do the explanations, but I'm back in action with round 3 here for Virtual Drift Masters with my main man, Alec. Alec, how you feeling from last round to this round? How excited are you?
Yeah, I'm feeling great. Welcome. I'm happy to be back. So yeah, this is Jonathan Warbe, and I'm a product of gentle parenting, and I'm ready to just sit down, watch the action, kick in, and it was a lot of fun last time. I think this layout's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm ready to just jump right in.
Yeah, this is going to be a very exciting event, especially when we're getting ready for, in 2 weeks in advance, is going to be the actual real-life Drift Masters. So if everybody that's in chat, I will be reading chat while we're commentating. So if you guys have questions, by all means, I will be bringing it up with the judges. And also, I love the interactions we had with chat last time, Alec.
Oh yeah, I mean, you guys are what
man.
make this fun. Especially here, we've got the virtual community, and I think that just means that we've got like that gamer aspect added to it. So it's fun to read the chat. It's fun to be able to like really interact in real time. This is like a little bit more of like a homey, cozier experience.
Yep, and there you see the 7 rounds for Virtual Drift Masters. We're at round 3 at the Power Park. This is one of the technical tracks. The first, for every round, first place gets 1,000 euros. Second place gets 600 euros. Third place gets 200, and then the whole competition, $1,500 for first place and a VIP trip ticket to Poland. And you have the other second and third place prizes there. But right there, you see that layout for Power Park. And man, this layout gets really, really spicy at certain parts with the elevation changes and running that wall. And I am super excited to see how these guys drive through Outer Zone 4 to 5. That's going to be the power alley there. So they can have the momentum going to Outer Zone 6 and then finishing off on Outer Zone 7. That's where a good decel is to match angle. But here we go. Alec, give us a quick rundown of this track.
Yep, so let's take a look here. We got a pretty fast entry, first, second, third, a little bit fourth for some guys. Entering into Outer Zone 1, you're going to want to get deep into this wall here without making contact on it. The closer you can get, the better, and then you're going to want to stay really close because here we start to pick up some momentum. We go through Inner Zone 3, Inner Zone 4, and then, or Outer Zone 4, I should say, and then right here we have a transition where you're not going to want to get lost in the smoke. There's a lot of speed picked up by the cars. You go into Outer Zone 5, and we come into this decel, change in direction. That's going to be where a lot of these guys are going to poke through the smoke and want to make surges. As we come into Outer Zone 7, we wrap our way around at that touch and go, and then across the line to get a really great qualifying and competition run. So these guys have already come out of qualifying. We're looking at our standings right now. We got O'Sullivan in first place with 190 points. Second place, we got Isaev. I really apologize about the name. 134 points. And then 3, Ostreika with 122 points. Probably messed that name up too, Tiny. I apologize.
No, it's all good. Right here we have the guys on the left and right side of this bracket. It's going to be an intense one. Right now, you see Krzysztof Rypina and Steven Hatcher on the top right. They're going to be absolutely killers. Paweł Korpalinski, one of the virtual Drift Masters drivers here, is also a Drift Master driver in real life who's going to be out there shredding tires. It's going to be exciting. Ernestus Jaku, our last year's champion, he's going to be on the bottom right of that bracket. And on the left side, you have Martinez Ostreika and Ethan Pitrakou on the bottom left of this bracket. Is going to be absolutely a killer battle. And Cameron Mustard versus Artem Chulkov. I'm excited to see that. But here we are. We are at round 3. All the rounds that we do here at Virtual Drift Masters is going to be the same layouts that they do in real life. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be fast. It's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. So Power Park, and it's going to be in Finland. Man, and the coolest thing about this track in real life, there's a Ferris wheel in the background, if I'm not mistaken. That the layout, everything where you're sitting, you can see the whole track perfectly fine. What are you excited about on this track layout?
I'm a big fan of fast technical tracks, and in this case, I mean, here we are. I mean, you know that we're coming off of U.S. soil doing the announcing from over here, and our drift series, even our pro drift series, they go to like a lot of oval tracks and stuff like that. That to me isn't fun. I like the really fast stuff when it has to go with walls, decelerations, transitions, where you guys are trying to carry a lot of speed. There's a lot more technical finesse kind of techniques you need to employ as a driver in order to keep close proximity on someone while also not wrecking your car when there's a lot more curves involved. So this track, I think, is going to be a lot of fun, really fast. There's a couple good opportunities to try and clean up a gap if you end up, falling behind the lead driver. However, and a lot more of this course, there's a lot of opportunity for the lead driver to get away. So this is going to be a lot of just taking calculated risk by whoever's in the chase position.
Yeah, I'm reading the chat too. Everybody is in good spirits. I see a funny comment. And Joe Valla saying, "Lost in the smoke, nobody has it on." Yeah, this is a simulator. You could turn off the smoke. You're going to see third-person perspective. You're going to see these drivers' cams, which is going to be exciting. This is something brand new where you guys are actually getting involved with the motion these drivers have. But here we go. We have our first battles getting ready to line up here. The second battle is going to be a bye run, but let's see. Our drivers come out here. I think they're going to do a little test real quick, maybe. A little test lap.
Yeah, and even though they can turn off the smoke. What were you saying?
Oh, so the first battle is going to be a bye run. So Juna is going to be moving on. So they're starting the second battle. That's what happened. I got them flip-flop. So our battle here is Cameron Mustard is going to be in the R32, and Artem Chulkov is going to be in the G87. These guys are amazing drivers on the sim. Here we go. Cameron Mustard in the lead. Artem Chulkov in the chase. Let's see how good and aggressive Artem Chulkov gets, and he does right off the rip, rubbing that front tire on Cameron Mustard's door on the first outer zone, diving into the inner clip 1, going to outer zone 2. Beautiful fill out, rubbing that back bumper on Power Alley. Good, nice deceleration right there as they're going through all the way the finish of this lap. This is such a fast track.
Solid first run of the day. As we look at this replay, we got Mustard in the lead. I usually don't like Mustard on a hot dog, but I love Mustard on a wall, and we see him get really nice and close on that outside zone, leading in. A lot of proximity on the chase drive, doing a great job following him through here. As we come through this faster part of the section here, good proximity still, and then this is right here where we see a lot of calculated risk. He does the surge, pulls it off, but Mustard is glued to that line, and meanwhile, that chase drive is right there on the door. So right now, solid lead and chase on that first run. It's still anybody's game.
Yeah, that chase was fantastic, but it was even a better lead. I loved it. They're really close. On the right, you see Artem Chulkov as his third-person camera. You're going to see him running this wheel. I'm not too sure what sim rig he has, but Might get that at a later date. Here comes Artem Chulkov coming in with a Scandinavian flick. Wins our first outer zone, ripping some e-brake so he can get into the outer zone. Now he, wall rides. Outer zone 2, dives into inner clip 1. Beautiful. As he is going into outer zone 2 and 3, he is doing a great job matching angle all the way through the whole track. And look at Cameron Mustard with that R32, unafraid of Artem Chulkov's ability.
Looks like right here, Chulkov knew that he had to do what he needed to be able to stand out. We see that aggressive style and flick as he comes into the first corner, and this begins to be a run with enough style to compete with Zoolander. And he comes across this transition here again, getting deep into that zone. Little left foot brake actuator there as he comes in here again. Lots of angle as he rotates the car close to the grass as he comes around that corner, and then up towards the wall here. Mustard right there in his sights, but we got to see him kind of do the same textbook lead run, but with just a little bit better style. Biggest question there is going to be who weighs the incidents more. The judges have a lot to try and differentiate here on these two runs because they're both these guys did a great job. I would have liked to see Mustard kind of match the angle. That was kind of the result of the stylish flicks for the BMW, but we'll ultimately have to leave it to their hands because they are the professional judges. We are just the professional yappers.
I saw someone in the chat. Where is it? I gotta find it now again. It was about Mustard. What about Mustard on that beat though? I gotta incorporate that. One of the lights.
Mustard on that beat. Yo.
He is different though. Oh man, Artem Chulkov and Cameron Mustard. It's unfortunate to see them in the top 32 battle and fight it out because they're such specimens of the sim world. Here we go. Slide him left for Mustard. Slide him right for Chulkov. Artem Chulkov gets the win and moves on.
Yeah, I think that was well deserved there. Completely unanimous decision there by the judges. And now we have the winner of our first run, and the coffee is finally starting to hit. So I'm going to start getting more perky throughout this evening.
I had two coffees. Ordered 2 coffees. One's frozen and one's hot. And they both have espresso shots in it. So I'm right there with you, buddy. So here we go. We're going to get ready for our next battle. It's going to be Vitaly Isaev and Robert Kwiecinski. And Robert Kwiecinski is going to be in the A90 Supra. And then Vitaly Isaev is going to be in the G29. Now, there's something new in this round. So people that have never seen drifting before, you're always going to have a lead driver and a chase driver, and they switch sides. Now, they used to have it as the top-seeded driver would lead, and then the lower-seeded driver would chase. This time, the top-seeded driver or higher-seeded driver would be able to choose whether he wants to chase or lead. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do towards the later half of the competition. Oh, we're going back to
our next battle.
Arjuna Waronen and Juan Jorques. Black Smoke is Una Waronen. Black Smoke Mercedes coming in here with a nice little flick. Going to that first outer zone. Lights off those tires. Going to outer zone 2. And look at that Dodge Viper. Mopar, no car. Trying to get that proximity alive in this power alley. Now he's going into the outer zones right here. Oh my goodness. The slow down from the chase driver. It's going to lose a lot of proximity as Una Waronen does a great job in the lead.
What you would assume would be an interesting battle just because of the difference in the type of cars ended up being a lot smoother than you typically expect. You've got the smaller wheelbase BMW Mercedes up front, followed by that longer wheelbase Viper, doing a great job chasing them through, especially these faster parts. That's where the Viper is really going to shine as they come through here. Viper's trying to look for where to take that calculated risk to get closer. We'd like to see a little bit better proximity. He does a good job closing the door right there at the end, and that is one spicy chimichanga.
Chimichanga,
I don't know. He's a Spaniard. I figured I would try to get some Spanish in there. Chimichanga.
Here you go. Waronen is now in the chase. Jorges is in the lead with the Dodge Viper going in. Nice initiation, able to float out to that wall. But look at Waronen all the way in that pocket as they're going through the outer zone 3 and then into the power alley. Beautiful transition from the Dodge Viper. He's a little bit off on that reference line right there, but going into the final outer zone, great job from the Viper, but he wasn't as close to the wall on that final wall.
Right here on that initiation, we can see a quick entry from the Viper doing a great job getting out to that wall, and then we see a little bit of stuttering here from the Mercedes looking to get closer. The Viper just got a lot of that straight line speed as they come through here, is being really smooth, and then we see the Mercedes right here. Look for the transition. The Viper hits his mark, gets deep into it. It does a little bit more angle there than I think the Mercedes had as they come across this last zone. The Mercedes closes the door. Right there, everyone's doing a great job of just checking up on the door right as they get across the finish line to make sure they get those extra brownie points with the judges.
Brownie points, huh? Here we go. Slide to left for Waronen. Right, for Jorques. And Waronen gets the win. We're going to see that Mercedes back in action in the top 16. But we have
Waronen is not
battle here.
Waronen is not worrying about packing his bags right now. He is just looking forward to the future of this competition. Get it? Worrying. He's not worrying.
Yeah.
Because it's
Yeah.
Warren.
Yep.
Yeah. Moving on.
Here we go. We have our next battle. It's going to be, I believe it's going to be Vitaly Isaev now and Robert Kwiecinski, which they're great, as well as we have top-notch drivers as well. On the left side, Nick Hang, Nico the Kid Stelea, Adam Zalewski, who is also a Drift Masters champion and driver. But right now is the battle with the A90 Supra and the G29. The A90 Supra is driven by Kwiecinski, and Vitaly Isaev is going to be in the chase here. So here we go. Kwiecinski in the lead. Isaev in the chase. The lights are green. And here we go. Coming in with a nice flick going into that first out of zone. You see Kwiecinski on the bottom right of your screen with the harness as he is going into that inner clip 1. Going into that first reference point as they're going into this power alley. A nice flick. Good and smooth like butter as they're going to the second reference point. Going to this final outer wall. And a beautiful surge from Vitaly Isaev.
I like to see it. Here you go with his harnesses nice and tight. He's able to get into the zone. He's able to relax because those harnesses are helping him deal with the simulated G-force as he comes across his inside clipping zone and gets a lot of speed here through the power alley. They transition. He falls back a little bit in the chase, but he's able to regain right here as he looks for the opportunity to get close to the door again. Here he comes across that last outside zone, and once again, a little bit of contact there on the door as the car stutters just coming across the line, but looking good. We got the pull up for Drift Masters. Who's going to win?
Here we go. Vitaly Isaev is now going to be in the lead. And Kwiecinski is going to be in the chase. Here we go. Nice, good fill out. As the first out of zone, a huge surge from Kwiecinski as he is trying to get that good proximity and keep it alive. Oh, a little bit of a bobble in the chase as we're going into this power alley. Oh, huge surge that makes contact, but he gets back in the fight. But he goes all the way out to the track. That was so fast.
Oh my goodness, it's just as we were making comments about the safety restraints being on side of the seat, it looks like we just saved a driver's life by having those present. Coming across this outside zone here, it looks like the Supra is looking to take his time because that BMW all getting a lot of angle. Seems to be holding up the momentum that the Supra wants to go for. And here we go, near moments from death as we see the collision happen right there. And thank goodness for the safety guys. We take safety very seriously in virtual Drift Masters. We want these guys taking all the proper precautions because we want them to make it another day of competition and make it back to their families in one piece. So great job to the track crew there for doing the tech inspections and just making sure these things are probably compliant right now with current specifications and regulations. And I imagine the judges are going to interpret this as the dive being at fault here, but I'm just a yapper, so I'm not 100% sure. But unfortunately, I know one thing's for sure, that's probably not how he wanted that to go.
Speaking of safety-wise, you were talking about fire suppression system being shaving cream. But here we go. Vitaly Isaev in the left. Kwiecinski to the right. And Isaev gets the win and moves on. That Waronen comment you said before, someone posted in chat. Awkward turtle, Mr. Commentator.
Hey, I've got a kid on the way. I got to practice being a dad. All right, I'm doing the dad jokes. Full throttle. Then Tomb with a little bit of dirty talk in the comments. Listen, I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm just saying my tissue box is empty, if you know what I'm talking about. All right.
Here we go. We got our next battle coming up here. Virgil Choisit versus Samuel Kuti. As Sam Kuti is a great Czech Republic driver in the sim world. He's going to be running the Supra. Is that a Supra? As Virgil Choisit is running the E36. Here we go. Virgil Choisit's in the lead. Sam Kuti in the chase. We got some people saying, let's go, Sam. Let's go, Samuel. I gotta see people that are getting hyped up for Virgil. I don't see anybody in the chat hyped up for Virgil, but here's the lights. He is going to be the lead. Virgil coming in with that E36. Coming in with a nice Scandinavian flick. Hold that E-brake just a little bit so he can keep that angle as he's going to outer zone 2. Beautiful fill out. Here's Virgil Choisit in the lead. Dropping down a banger, rubbing that back bumper on that wall, going to the outer zone 4, into that reference point, going to the final wall ride, and look at Sam Kuti getting that proximity at the last point.
Great job right here. A lot of fans for Sam in the chat. Let's see if he's able to make his fans proud. As they come into this initiation, would have liked to see him do a little bit more of an aggressive initiation onto the door of the lead driver. As they come across here, though, this is where we start to see things spice up a bit through the power alley as they come through this outside zone here. That proximity is regained, match the angles. They dive in here, actually getting a little bit more angle than the lead driver right here as they come across the last zone here, getting great proximity, and this is what we like to see, ladies and gentlemen. This is Drift Masters.
Fun fact, Waronen is going to be also driving in Power Park, Finland, which is awesome to see. But here we go. We got a in-car cockpit view. Sam Kuti is driving with a VR set, which is very hard for some people, but easy for others. But here's Virgil Choisit. It's going to be in the chase with that BMW. Sam Kuti, correction on that wall ride, but he's going to outer zone 2, filling it all the way out, going to that inner clip 1 as they're going to outer zone 3. Beautiful fill out as well, but that correction in the beginning could have choked up that chase driver. And we got to see that drone replay as they're going to this final outer zone in a beautiful proximity from the chase driver.
I like to see it as we see this initiation. A little bit of a faint entry coming in. Lots of style points there as they come from by the wall. Doing a great job getting really close and pulling away a little bit. Let's see if he's going to be able to keep that through the power alley. Looks like we see a little bit of dive from the chase driver right here as they come through this transition and decel to make a rotation. Do a great job getting through. Sam very smooth as he does that actuation on the car and switching that weight over to get around to that last corner. So let's see what the judges are going to think of that one right here. We got a good shot here of those Advan tires on the BMW. And the Supra body kit looking nice as always.
We got Doorbreakers Drift TV saying, let's go, Virgil. That's Virgil. Yeah. Here we go. Virgil Choisit gets the win and moves on. Virgil does a great job. So that person on that cockpit cam was Virgil.
That's very unfortunate. I know there's a lot of fans that are in the chat that are really cheering for Sam, but on the bright side, if he gets knocked out of this competition this early, he will be in the paddock with his car in his pit area, signing autographs the rest of the day. So if you're here at the virtual track live and you're one of those 2D people standing in the stands, make sure you go over to his pit area, say hi to him, buy some merch, support the team, support the drivers, and that helps them make it to every round of Virtual Drift Masters because loading your car to each round could be very expensive.
We have Daniel Andrejev in the lead and Nick Hang in the chase. Now we have the in-cockpit view. The lights are green. Daniel Andrejev is going to be in that blue BMW, coming in with a nice flick going to that first outer zone, and then use that left foot brake to match that angle that he needs to that first wall. But look at Nick Hang hanging on to the door of Andrejev as he is going to into outer zone, transitioning into power alley. Huge D-cell, but he's able to hold it. And going into this final wall, the chase driver, Nick Hang, being absolutely aggressive.
Incredible driving there by both drivers to see the lead get out here to this wall for a second. I thought there was going to be a little bit of contact on the wall. He's just scrubbing there. Nick hangs back a little bit to kind of assess the situation, but he's got plenty of power and grip at his disposal. He uses it right here in the power alley to get nice and close to this transition right here. Diving in on the door. Looked like he almost dove in there for some contact, but he got really nice and close. Let him know, hey, bud, I'm right here. Hey, little mama, let me whisper in your ear. Tell you something nice that you'd like to hear. And Nick Chase is asking the question, or Nick Hang is asking the question, can you hang? And now he's going to be in the lead, giving him the chance to return service.
Here we go. Nick Hang in the lead. Andrejev in the chase. Nick Hang coming in with that Portiera and able to do a nice flick going into that first outer zone. But look at Andrejev rubbing that front tire on the door of Nick Hang as they're going into this third outer zone. Beautiful fill out. A nice back bumper drag on that wall. Power alley is good. Andrejev gives him some room so he can surge into the pocket, almost make contact with the front tire, but able to stay forward in the pocket and keep that proximity alive.
Nick Hang is a quick car, so he knows that he's going to have to be able to put it all down if he wants to be able to try to pull away, and Andrejev is very familiar with this. He does a great job just stepping forward on that line a little bit so he can keep that proximity nice and smooth through the power alley. Andrejev is like silk like butter as he comes through the course. He's not trying to be too aggressive with any flicks or anything. He's just looking to be calculated and stay close. He doesn't want that car to get away. I think he does a great job at managing that through the run. Nice look at the door there. Aros Marine Drift. Something I didn't read fast enough. Sorry. I'm not at the...
Here we go.
Left
for Andrejev, right for Hang. That was Martinez Ostreika's livery there. But here we go. Andrejev gets the win. And he moves on to the top 16. Beautiful performance from both of these drivers. These guys are... You're getting Titan battles. The first couple of these top 32 battles. I know you're more familiar of the real-world drift scene, Alec. For the sim wise, you're getting the best of the best here in virtual drift masters. Guys that compete in VDC and multiple different competitions in the sim community. It's beautiful to see the culmination that Drift Masters has succeeded in doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I also have a lot of experience in other things too, like Pokemon card trading and peanut butter sculptures and things that I think add a lot more personality to me and depth to me. But of course, everyone only ever wants to talk to me about drifting, so sure, we'll talk about it. When it comes to the driving, 100%, I think that there's a lot of advantages that come into the virtual side of things. I mean, you've got a lot of these other variables like breakdowns and stuff that's kind of out of the driver's control that is completely eliminated, and now it is just down to skill. No one's limping their car through the circuit. It's kind of more ideal conditions, which just means that your talent is going to matter that much more.
Yes, that is true. And here's Adam Zalewski and Nico the Kid Stelea in the chase as Adam Zalewski is able to hit that first outer zone and second outer zone. Good fill out. The Drift Masters driver is getting his practice on in a competition side. I wish he was a little bit closer to that outer wall a little bit, but here comes that D-cell zone. Look at Nico the Kid Stelea being able to stay forward in the pocket and stay with that proximity with that 3-monitor setup you see in the bottom right.
I love seeing all the different sim setups. Everyone's just trying to do whatever they can to get the better edge. You see sparks fly off the back of that car as he comes through the initiation. He settles into that outside zone. A lot more angle in the lead than in the chase as he comes through the power alley, looking for that proximity to be kept as they come through this one little area where we see a big rotation for the cars. A little bit of a decel on a check of the front brake as they come around this last zone. Great job on the proximity. Once again, the lead drivers here are doing so good. I mean, this is the best of the best talent-wise.
We have Nico the Kid Stelea going to be in the lead now. And Adam Zalewski in the chase. Last year he had a sick livery, a samurai livery, but now he's going black and yellow. And as he is going into the pocket of Nico the Kid Stelea, trying to get the school change for his lunch money, as he is going into the second outer zone and third outer zone. Good fill out. Look at Adam. Look how aggressive he is, surging in, using that angle to decel, and now surging into the pocket, gives some contact to Nico. And oh no!
Oh
Nico,
no!
you okay?
Wow. Oh my goodness. Here we come into this initiation. Outside zone, doing a great job committing here, getting nice and deep through this outside sweeper. We see a lot of great proximity here. And then once again, disaster seems to strike as we come through the power alley. Will greed turn into an issue here as we see them come across here? Big rotation, does a great job at saving it here, but then too little, too late as he tries to make up the ground here, sending our friend into the wall. And now we have the paramedics checking up on him right now, looking inside of his car, looking to adhere some Hello Kitty bandages wherever he has pain. That's really all we have. We don't really have like morphine or anything readily available. So if you get injured, just understand you're probably just getting a Band-Aid wherever your injury is, and we hope that's enough. It's probably not. We'll talk to insurance about it, see what they think, I'm sure, one day. But in the meantime,
for the people that are asking in chat, this is Assetto Corsa. This is modded, and the physics. Someone asked about the physics. He says VDC 5.0 physics. Left for Zalewski, right for the kid Stelea, and the kid Stelea gets the win. Stelea. The one thing is with Nico is it reminds me of, he's probably too young. He's a really young kid. But you remember the movie A Streetcar Named Desire?
yes. That was a book, wasn't it?
It was. But Marlon Brando starred in it, and he yells, "Stella!" That's why I call him Stella.
Ah.
I try to explain it to him, but he was too young for it. Zalewski? Zalewski? How do I say it? Bianca?
Zalewski. Hey, Peter.
Zalewski? Oh, Zalewski.
Hey,
That's probably Zalewski. Oh, I apologize for the mispronunciation. I look at chat. Last year, the chat was Brandon Patrick. Really, dude? Brandon Patrick is in the chase. Alexander Element in the lead. The stare and focus of Brandon Patrick while he's chasing down Alexander Element as they're going to Outer Zone 2. Beautiful fill out and transitioning into Outer Zone 3. Great job with the BMWs as they're going into this power alley. Let's see if the proximity gets alive going to this D-cell zone. Huge surge as they're going to the final wall. Beautiful performance.
Ready to check out this replay and see if the hat did any extra, what'd you say, juju for him? Did him any extra points here as it comes across this outside zone. Doing a great job getting that proximity right off the bat through the power alley. We see a good commanding chase here as they come through this outside sweeper. Good transition here. This is where we see a lot of these cars starting to try to grab a little bit more proximity. We see him dive in right there and then check the brakes. And then coming across the line, lead driver having just a little bit more angle. Oh, and there we have a sourpuss in the chat. Bang. That's on. Oh, no. Shame, shame, shame.
Brandon Patrick is now in the lead. He's using that hat as a stress reliever right before the round. And look at that. The proximity from Alexander Element was insane on that first wall ride as they're transitioning towards the second wall ride and the power alley. You see these two monsters rip through the track. A little bit far from that reference point, but is able to hold on. Brandon Patrick doing a great job from the UK.
Like to see it right here. The Z4 has a lot of advantages here with the shorter wheelbase. Gets into there with a really flicky transition. He's able to go from lock to lock as the track relative to his wheelbase gives him a little bit more space to work with here. So he's taking huge advantage of that with the chase car a little bit larger. He's going to have to be a little bit more calculating, but he does a great job doing it, finding opportunity to introduce more angle, find the opportunity to dive. Z4 did a great job in the lead, though. I think the judges are going to have to pick this one apart a bit.
Yeah, and definitely it's going to be that. And we're talking about these two guys where I think the one mistake they're going to look at is how far Brandon Patrick was from that one reference point. There's two reference points on this map. One has two dashes going close, pretty much how close they are to the rumble strip, and then there's one that's kind of guiding them around the track. It's for the perfect line. So we'll see what the judges have come to agreement on this. But the liveries on these guys actually spend their personal money to make the perfect liveries and get these cars spick and spec So it's really good. Is this VDC or BDC? So it's VDC physics, but different tires that the Drift Masters guys or DCGP has helped make. So some of these guys do drift in first person, especially when you see VR headsets, as well as some people have 3 monitor setups that go roof cam, and it's just for a competitive advantage. Whatever they have to do, but you see, I saw one camera today that was a virtual reality. But judges are going down the rabbit hole with the drone cam. Let's see what they say. Oh, there it is. Left for Element, right for Patrick.
Ooh.
It looks like Alexander Element gets the win and moves on. Great job from these drivers. We have some people talking in chat about VR is the best in their opinion, and when I jumped on the sim, I went from a controller to VR, the direct drive wheel, the whole 9 yards, because I wanted to experience these drivers as best as possible, even though I'm not that great in the sim. But here we go. Ethan Pitrakou and Martinez Ostreika, 2 titans in the sim community. Ethan Pitrakou and Martinez is the brother of Darius the Don Ostreika. Martinez coming into the chase and trying to get that proximity alive. All right, there, rubbing that tire on that door as they're going into this first inner clip, transitioning. That's that first reference point I was talking about before. And then going into this power alley, into the second reference point, going to this final outer wall, a little bit far away from that outer wall. But look at Martinez holding the proximity.
Here we go, deeper in the top 32 is really setting the tone. We've got a lot of these really great lead runs coming through this outside zone here. We see a great job getting this back bumper out there and a really good match of angle as we come through the transition into the speed alley. We see a really good adjustment here as it comes through the transition. This is where, again, we see a lot of that deep rotation. We see the back of the chase car come around and almost get slightly more angle and then driving up on that driver line there. Just a little bit of a touch of the door as they come across the line.
Now we're going to have them switch sides. Pitrakou is going to be chasing him down, and Martinez is going to be in the lead. Martinez coming in with a big flick, going to that first out of zone, ripping that e-brake so he could float into it, as Martinez is doing a great job. Look at Ethan Pitrakou straight bullying the door of Martinez as they're going into the outer zone 3, into the power alley. Huge angles from Martinez, using that left foot brake a little bit to slow himself down as he's going to this final wall ride. A great job from Martinez in the lead. And man, oh man, Pitrakou was eating him up like a taco.
Oh my good, sorry, I'm gonna have to take a second to collect myself and get back into my chair because I just got knocked out of my seat with that flick on initiation by the lead driver, doing a great job coming through here. Lots of aggression as he gets himself to these outside zones. Transitions here, it looks like Chase driver's doing what he can to try and keep up, but it's really difficult with this much precision and decisiveness in the lead as they come across the line. That looks like that might have been a considerable enough gap in the difference between both runs. We'll have to see what the judges are going to say about that, but BMW doing a great job just locking on target and hitting each one of those zones with precision, angle, and style.
Pitrakou's livery, nice and clean, purple and yellow. And
oh my God,
we're looking at you had too much caffeine going through your system. Left for Pitrakou, right for Ostreika. And it's a one more time.
I mean, I don't know about you, but I would not mind seeing that again.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. Good question in chat. I already answered the question of what Alec has taken. It was caffeine, but are they playing on in the same place? If not, how there is no latency, or is there some kind of mechanism? So with these drivers, they load up into the server. for the top 16 or top 32. You're gonna see us do breaks and stuff. That's when they refresh the server so they could get the next batch of drivers. That's to minimize the latency. With the latency wise, if there is a dispute, the driver will petition or send a clip to say, hey, this guy was lagging or having some latency issues on that. So this really good questions. Some people ask them. Here we go. We got Pitrakou in the lead. Big old flick going to that first outer zone. Big Scandinavian flick from the Taco Man, Pitrakou, as he is going to that first inner clip as they're going into outer zone 3. Beautiful wall ride. Pitrakou is just straight shredding, and I'm not talking about shredded beef tacos, but the straight crazy driver. Oh no, he made contact with that wall.
He was given one more chance at competition from the judges, and he looks to use it right here. Great initiation, great flick as he gets the outside zone. Super smooth, great amount of angle as we look to see him reposition his car right here. Here's the power alley. He's going to pick up all his momentum onto this outside zone. Great flick here as you see him start to establish a gap there between him and the chase drivers. You see him come across this wall. A little tap as he comes across the line, but keeps the car completely under composure. What a great way to make it a second use of that opportunity.
That was insane. And then another question in chat: what wheelbase do the competitors use? They're most of the time are direct drive wheels. Every competitor drives different direct drive wheels. But here we go. Ethan Pitrakou is now chasing down Martinez Ostreika as Martinez Ostreika comes in with a nice initiation. He's a little bit farther away from the wall than what we have been seeing throughout the competition and hits that inner clip with finesse as he is going into this power alley, using the momentum so he can carry it through to that reference point and transitioning into this decel zone. Needs to float out to that outer wall. And my goodness, look at Pitrakou.
I've never thought about the need to put a restraining order against a taco before, but the lead driver is probably thinking about it after that aggressive chase run. Look at that. See, now if you want to call me cringy, I'll turn it up. As they come across this outside zone, doing a great job getting nice and close, coming through transition, once again diving, getting lots of angle and really close on proximity. It's just a constant touch and go on the door as they come through every single directional change throughout the track. Doing a great job there. I think Taco 100% wants to move on in this competition. He's looking like the one that wants it more. We're going to have to see if the judges feel the same way.
That was absolutely bonkers. Oh my God. We're getting more OMTs in the chat. Yeah, we already had one. I don't think they're going to do another OMT on this one. This was a really close battle here. These two drivers are absolutely look at this texture on that tire. So these guys are absolutely correct. The modders in Assetto Corsa are fantastic. There's some guys out there like Geronimo Designs making OSW, our home track, Alec, and it's so cool to see those kind of like guys that do it for the passion. And then you got guys that are making cars as well, especially with the ACS community, that they're always big on trying to make the best that they can for car packs or cars themselves, private cars. It's so great to see that. But here we go. I think the judges are going to be coming up to a decision here. Man. This is going to be very interesting to see. And judges are probably going to come up with a decision and then give me the explanation here shortly. But here we go. Left for Pitrakou, right for Ostreika. And Martinez gets the win. Great job from Martinez. Good battle from both of these drivers. Most of these guys on the sim here, they have personal private cars that they pay for 3D modelers to make up. But you see the left side of the bracket here, Waronen versus Artem Chulkov, Vitaly Isaev versus Choisit, Andrejev versus Nico the Kid Stelea, Element versus Ostreika. And now we're going to go to the right side of our top 32 bracket, and we're going to see what these guys are going to be fighting for in the future here. Right now, they're actually loading up the servers. So this is like when you see the brackets here, that's when you know we're loading up the new servers. So what are you thinking, Alec?
Yep, we are almost done with our top 32, so we're like halfway through the bracket right now. So this is definitely the more lengthy part of the competition, as we've got to narrow it down. But already in just top 32, it looks like we have a great job of these drivers looking to differentiate themselves, and it's only going to get better. If anyone joined us the last round of Drift Masters, any of these other rounds this season, all of the theme is that it's already tough to find a winner in top 32. By the time you get to top 16, top 8, top 4, let alone the finals, the judges here have a lot more of a difficult time, in my opinion, trying to pick a winner than in real life Drift Masters, because I think there's just a lot more variables involved in real life Drift Masters. I think that puts the judges in a position where sometimes it's very easy for the calls to be made, because there's a lot of larger things then that are going to make a difference between proximity. Maybe the cars aren't running right. Maybe there's some sort of an issue where contact is made and it immediately affects the drivers. A lot more like the bumps and grooves and things like that, or the difference in temperature, tire and track conditions, weather. A lot of that is a much bigger element in real life. So again, like I said earlier, with this just being purely based on skill and a lot of those perfect variables being set for the cars, we're really starting to see the skill shine, and that means the task of picking a winner is also going to get a lot more difficult, because drifting has gotten to a point now where we're able to see drivers do textbook runs consecutively all day long, pretty much.
And going into the battles and what we've had before, especially when we commentate real life events, you have some issues where there's contact made, and now you have a 10-minute and you have to wait for them to get their car back up. There's a lot of like variables there, and I think someone called you Lightning McQueen, which is fantastic because you are a cars fanatic. You have
Did you call me
Crocs,
McQueen?
man.
Let me see. Let me look at this. Stop screaming and tell McQueen to stop having corny jokes. Screaming for sim drifting. Look, let me tell you something. I got up this morning just for sim drifting when I could be sleeping. So if I'm awake, I'm giving it my all.
Yep. We love drifting, so even sim drifting. You got real drivers using this as a tool to benefit themselves. And you have these guys like Nico the Kid Stelea, young buck, and is getting into real life cars and getting that feeling of the adrenaline. I'm excited for them, and I'm not going to lower my standard of excitement just because of people being upset of me being excited for sim drivers. When you have Korpalinski, you're going to see him drive up here. Zalewski, we already seen him. I don't know, I messed up his name, but he's driving. We have real drivers actually competing in these competitions, and let's give them the show that they want. Here we go.
Yeah, if you wanted to watch
we have our next
competition
battle
today, you could have watched Monaco.
Oh, Jesus. Here we go. Krzysztof Rypina and Stephen Hatcher in the chase. Krzysztof Rypina coming in here with that S chassis. A nice initiation. Use that e-brake so he could get all the way to that first outer wall. Stephen Hatcher, look at him rubbing that tire on that door, just pushing him through the zones. As you look, Stephen Hatcher just laying the hatchet down on this track and this chase run, as there's a tire drop from Krzysztof Rypina. But man, oh man.
All right, let me try to tone it down. I'm going to tone it down with this replay. Ready? Here we have a nice initiation. We see good proximity from the 240Z, doing a good job at proximity with door tapping energy. As they come across this outside zone, they seem to slow down and get a good little bit gap there. The 240 has to get the space back, and he's able to do it across the line. Thank you for watching Drift Masters.
You sounded like the Clear Eyes guy. Here we go. Stephen Hatcher in the lead now. Krzysztof Rypina in the chase. And man, oh man, Stephen Hatcher, huge angle, goes to that first outer wall, and man, he holds it as Krzysztof Rypina is keeping the proximity as much as possible. He had to back off a little bit on that first outer wall, and here comes Stephen Hatcher in the lead. Nice angle, huge angle, going to that second reference point, and then the snap to the decel zone. A little bit of contact, but doesn't seem like it really upset the lead driver as much.
Yes, I am exploding with excitement. I literally cannot contain myself. These drivers all want to be here and are fighting for a cash prize, which I guess could sort of, be interesting, because cash is sometimes nice, sometimes not, sometimes leads to massive amounts of credit card debt. To each their own. Thank you for watching Drift Masters.
Oh man, this is what I love this part about it. Alec and I, we worked together for what, 2 years now, 3 years, and man, it's been exciting to have you on board for the virtual side. And we got the judge's decision here. Left for Rypina, right for Hatcher. And Hatcher gets the win.
Oh, there we go. In all seriousness, super well deserved. The really aggressive driving style, I think, is what's really starting to separate the drivers in this competition, because I think someone said it earlier in the chat, which is that we are getting to that point where people are able to do this like robotic level of textbook drifting. So I think the only big way, if you want to join this competition, yes, there is that aspect to it where it seems like it's almost like an unattainable level of precision driving. But when they're all doing that, almost none of them might as well be doing that. What I really mean by that is that you have to find a separate way to stand out to the judges. You can't just do the textbook run. You need to introduce some style to it, get way more aggressive with your transitions, take bigger risks, do those things that are going to be a much larger wow factor. And that does still push all of these drivers, because it's easier for them to do a textbook run than it is for them to find a limit beyond what the rest of the drivers are able to do.
All right, here we go. We have Alan Hynes in the lead. Driftmaster's driver on bottom left of the screen. In the chase is Vestimanis, as he is in that GT86 RTR livery as they're going to outer zone 3. Look at Alan Hynes doing a great job filling it out. Oh! Some contact made as they're going into that decel zone, going to this final outer zones. Alan Hynes doesn't seem unfazed though.
Yeah, let's jump into it. Big feint initiation here from the S14. He does a great job grabbing angle, getting in. A little bit too greedy of a chase initiation. He has to wind it back up and get back into the pocket, as you can see him try to pick back up proximity through the power alley. He's still falling a little bit back. This right here is where you have opportunity to surge and dive in. He does a great job at grabbing that with a little bit of contact on the front fender of that S14, and then reels him back in as he go across the line once more. So does a great job there, fell back, and I think he made some big mistakes there by trying to calculate how much to dive into that first corner, and then from there he was just trying to get himself back into the rhythm and was able to bring it back together.
And you have Armand Vestimanis. He's going to be in the lead. That RTR is not for the fun havers. It is Racing Team Riga. And look at Alan Hynes, the Irish man, coming in here. It's like he is chasing him down like he stole his Guinness all the way through outer zone 3, going into his power alley. Look at Vestimanis, not a full fill out on outer zone 4, but able to decel and go into the final 2 outer zone. Look at Alan Hynes, composed.
I know you were like making a jab or like a joke, but never even like joke about stealing an Irishman's Guinness. You don't want to know what happens. All right, here we go. Come through the outside zone. Doing a great job transitioning here. So what we just saw in that previous run, we saw a mistake made originally with kind of grabbing too much angle, kind of falling back. So looking at this zone, we're looking for that chase driver to just really stay consistent, keep proximity. It looks like it's kind of a bit of a struggle in certain parts of the track. And this is a good time to mention, because I don't think we've talked about it this competition, that these drivers do have spotters. So they are being spoken to. And here we go. Hynes with the win. The S14 gets the win.
Yeah,
but,
we were talking earlier.
Yeah, the spotters help.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. You were talking earlier about how drifting in real life and sim could have its similarities, and with crew and everything, like in real life you have a pit crew, but what you see in the sim wise, you have a driver and spotter all the time. So for people that don't know what a spotter does, what exactly does he do?
Yeah, so I mean, in wheel-to-wheel racing, we're used to seeing spotters say, like, you know, clear on the left, clear on the right, kind of let them know what's happening around them and be an extra set of eyes and ears. In this sort of a sense, you're not going to listen to your spotter, at least in most cases, talk to you during the run. The runs are happening very quickly, so you don't want someone in your ear being like, he's right behind you, like, you know, they're chasing you. So obviously there's not a lot of information they can feed you. It's really in between the runs where the spotter helps, because if you're in the lead position, you just want to drive as hard as you can. You're not looking in the mirror, so the only way to get information about how the chase driver followed you is from your spotter, and that kind of helps you lay out your strategy, because you can choose to drive more aggressively or more conservatively based on what happened in that first run.
Here we have Korpalinski. and Thanalapanan in the chase. I hope I said that right, but here comes Korpalinski with the Scandinavian flick going to that first outer zone. And my goodness, the chase driver right here getting that good fill out and trying to match the angle of the Drift Masters driver, Korpalinski, going to this power alley. A nice good fill out as they're going to this final outer zone. Good decel, and then lights off those tires to the final outer zone.
Once again, all these drivers doing a great job just coming to this first zone here, cutting the line a little bit on the chase zone in order to keep the gap. We see that from the chase driver, the red car, as he comes across that first corner. He started to fall back, and we see a lot of that throughout the run. He starts to nudge his way forward, kind of trimming the driving line so he can keep that proximity. It's definitely an effective method, but it's one that stands out a bit to the judges because here you can see that clearly it's just done in a very dramatic fashion. So did a great job keeping up with him, but that is a little bit more forward than we've seen a lot of the drivers throughout this competition step out in order to keep close. So now, again, we were just talking about the spotters. This is a great time where we hopefully hear the spotters say, hey, look, you got to stay close, but if you can do it as tidy as possible. He had to cut a lot of the line to stay close to you. So just keep your momentum up, nail your transitions, pick up momentum where you can, and try to stay on them without stepping off the line.
We have our lead driver here from Thailand coming into that first outer zone, the second outer zone. Beautiful fill out. And look at Korpalinski using that angle to slow himself down a little bit. Hits that rumble strip, makes him go up a little bit on suspension as they're going into this power alley. Oh, a tire drop. Going to his final two outer zones. That's a huge mistake from our wildcard driver for round 3.
Always good to make sure the grass and dirt physics work whenever we do a competition. So now we got our test on that. We see them go to the outside zone here, doing a great job with the chase position. And like I said, keeping that proximity, but not having to dive too deep or trim the line too often. As you see them come across out here, it looks like this is where the tire drop happens. That might have been 2 tires off. They're going to have to look at that closely. So if you're not familiar, 1 tire off is a deduction, or just makes you look bad. 2 is considered an incomplete. And in this case, it wouldn't have been, I don't believe it would have been a scenario where they would have been pushed off or forced off by the chase driver. So we'll see. The judges look like they've already got a decision, though.
And Korpalinski gets the win and moves on. You see our Drift Masters driver go to the top 16.
Yeah, right here, I think there's definitely an issue with the S15 just not maybe having enough grip at its disposal, because you look at the way that the chase with the S14 went, and it was just not that much effort to keep up, stay right there in the pocket, maybe trim the line once. And the S15, on the other hand, in order to stay close, had to pretty much always be slightly forward on the line. And then there we see him rotate and just, completely drop off the track. So maybe going back to the drawing board on that one, or it could just be driver error, but
yeah,
never leave it in the judges' hands.
It's upsetting to see that kind of technicality force a decision, but it happens. That's what I love about drifting. You never know what you're going to get. The top driver could actually make a huge mistake that costs him a battle. But here's Jaku Hogue versus Łukasz Tasaminski. Łukasz Tasaminski is going to be in the chase. Oh, is getting that huge angle with that E30. And my, oh my, a huge correction from Tasaminski as they're going into the outer zone 3. And look at Hogue with the VR. Oh no, he is going absolutely bonkers with angle. And I don't even know if that, would that be considered a rough line to chase down, Alec? I don't know. Let's see.
Well, let's take a look at this and break it down. We see the S14 come in and he just seems to grab way too much angle, gets a little bit greedy, just like me at a Chinese buffet, and then when he comes back, he has to grab a shallow amount of angle in order to be able to get back into it. He does a great job at avoiding the straight, and we see the BMW drop off here, but it doesn't look like he comes all the way off the line by 2 tires or anywhere that'd be track limits. So the S14 is able to clean it up, come across the line with him, but it was very rough getting into the first part. The judges can look at the lead car and just see if there's anything he might have done that would have been like a sandbag or a checkup that could have caused that, but I think that looked pretty clean. I think it was just some over-aggressive from Tasaminski. And love the matching shirt, by the way, that you can see here on the screen. He's got the team shirt going with his car. This man's ready to go. So let's see if he can switch it around here. He's going to need a really solid lead run, and there's no real way to pressure a mistake from the chase car.
Łukasz Tasaminski is going to be competing in the Polish Drift Championship, and look at that initiation. Going into that first outer zone, beautiful fill out, smooth like butter as he is going into that first interclip, transitioning to outer zone 3, a little bit shallower line, but here comes a power alley, nice decel. Let's see how he does. Way better line than the previous lap from the lead driver on that reference point there.
Yeah, he did a great job here at BMW, almost doing the same thing that that he did on the previous run of getting too much angle and having to correct. So, I mean, we do see a correction there. It just doesn't seem to be as dramatic as one as he drives back in here. I mean, from the lead position, it's very difficult if you know that you made a mistake on the prior run, because there's no way to really pressure a mistake from the chase driver. You can just run as clean of a run as possible in front and just hope that the chase driver makes a mistake. Here, it looks like the chase driver almost made the identical mistake as on the previous run. However, it might have been a little bit more choppy for the S14. So we'll have to see what the judges are going to interpret there. Maybe they give it one more time, but it was a little bit sloppy on the first run, and that's obviously not, as a driver, that's not something that, you know, was intentional on his end. His skill level clearly is far greater than what we saw in the chase run because of his lead run and what we've seen in other competitions. So right now he's probably just crossing his fingers. He'd either hopefully walk away with the win or get the one more time. But let's see. And it looks like right now we have a little bit extra time pass. That means the judges do, in fact, have to take a look at it. So while we're panning around the cars, the judges are looking at that POV footage. We've got the drone cam footage. They can, and what's really nice about virtual is that they can really get in there and kind of just like use the full track and replay to get a look at every single angle of these cars to understand where it went well. So they do have more tools at their disposal than we often see in real life drift competitions.
Yeah, now they're incorporating a system. I don't know if you've seen it, where they actually put sensors on the car, and it replicates like a 3D model of their run with speed and angle and the whole 9 yards. I think they did it at not Club Loose, Clutch Kickers this year, where they were able to see their runs. And that is something that's going to be awesome for the future of real life drifting. But here we go. Left for Haug, right for Tasaminski. And the judges have come to the decision. Jochen Haug gets the win and moves on. Would we ever do an event in the rain? I don't think we did Poland last year, the virtual side in the rain, which would be cool. But there are some sim drifting competitions where they incorporate dynamic weather. The one thing is, not everybody has the same PC specs, so it could cause lag or frame drops for these drivers. So we pretty much treat it like a sterile environment, perfect conditions for drifting on every Drift Masters battle. Here we go. Our next drivers: Darius Dedan Ostreika versus Stanislav Tarasov. There's Dedan Ostreika leaning back like a Fat Joe song in his racing chair. Here we go. Lead versus chase. There's Dedan Ostreika coming in with a nice Scandi flick, going into that first outer zone, getting to that second outer zone right in that wall, filling it all the way out. And look at Stanislav Tarasov matching the angle all the way through that zone, now reeling into proximity, going into this power alley. Nice snap into outer zone 4, and they're going to the final two outer zones. Look at the surge and hold from Tarasov on that final outer zones.
I love seeing these guys in sync this entire run. Great initiation, doing a great job getting right there in the pocket of the door off of the first corner. As they come through the power alley, he looks to do a really smooth job getting in. And this is again in our top 16. So we talked about this top 32. It's a little easier to pick a winner. Top 16 and beyond, it's just going to get more precise to the point where you're going to forget you're watching drift cars, and instead it's more like you're watching the Blue Angels out there. You'd swear they're doing it together on purpose, when in reality they're competing to see who could just be the better driver. So and this right here, this is a battle we've seen in the previous competitions in Ostreika. Very consistent.
You have Darius down Ostreika. You were talking about in sequence. Let's see if Darius wants it that way as he's going to that first outer zone and second outer zone, just rubbing that front tire on the door. Going to outer zone 3. Beautiful fill out from the lead driver. Stanislav Tarasov gets some nice angle as he's trying to slow himself down so he can get all the way through, rubbing that back bumper on that final outer wall. Absolutely maniacal.
Love the depth into these zones too. It's not just inside the zone, it's fully putting that wing, look at that, over the wall as he comes across this the outer zone, and they come across the power alley, same thing. Could have been maybe a tiny bit deeper on that one, but at this point we're really nitpicking to try and find a winner as they come across this last outside zone. Same thing, wing over the wall, and the proximity there is tremendous throughout the entire run.
Yeah, now we have man, these two. Darius got third place last year for Virtual Drift Masters, and seeing him compete, he also competes in VDC as well, but him, his brother, and Jaku, those three guys are teammates, and they're absolutely like always practicing with each other. They were a force to be reckoned with last year. The red and blue lights on that BMW is so clean, and it's cool too. The Big Duck Club, they test out or see how it looks on the virtual car. Sometimes they get some 3D designers to put it on the settle to see how it looks, or even they want to kind of use it as an advertisement. It's so cool to see real life motorsports companies invest into the sim, like Drift HQ. They made Sim HQ. It's so cool to see that kind of I don't know what versatility. That's the word. Here we go. Darius Don Ostreika to the left, and he does get to win. Ostreika gets the win. Stanislav Tarasov is unfortunately ending his competition here on the top 32 battle. Next battle will be Adrian Ronsero.
We saw a lot of aggression on that run, but that's definitely, we were talking about this earlier, the idea of doing like the scientific textbook precision run, or trying to differentiate yourself and take bigger risks with the aggression. So we definitely saw that effort there, but there is a lot of high risk, high reward with that level of driving style. You're either going to really differentiate yourself or put yourself in a position where if someone else is driving kind of just a smooth textbook standard of the, what the best drift run could look like, you're up against that. It's going to stand out when you make a mistake.
I'm trying to think of lines from Red Dead. Someone said Arthur Morgan commentator voice. Arthur. Here we go. Adrian Ronsero versus Mustafa. And Mustafa is in the right. He's got a thumbs up. Getting hyped up. Here comes Adrian Ronsero. Oh man, nice initiation. Goes that first outer zone and then hucks it, using that left foot brake to kind of stabilize himself and doesn't slow himself down as Kuko 890 Supra going to outer zone 3. Beautiful fill out as they're going into outer zone 4 on that power alley. 5 is a good, and let's see how 6 is. A little midline on 6, but great lead lap from Adrian Ronsero.
Supra looked really good coming through there, being smooth throughout the entire run. Mufasa doing the best he can to just try and find the right angle, and a little bit of bobbing as Mufasa tries to come across this power alley. He's adjusting his angle. He wants to get close, but you can see a little bit of uncertainty as he's trying to figure out where to take those risks, and that stands out with the smoothness of the Supra. So Mufasa's going to have to really clean it up coming across this next run, and he's going to have to just put down a solid lead run and hope for a little bit more mistakes from the Supra.
Adrian Ronsero is now in the chase, and Mustafa in the lead. Mustafa coming in with an aggressive Scandi flick, going to that first outer zone and then rubbing that back bumper on outer zone 2. Look at Adrian Ronsero trying to keep up, but making a lot of corrections in the chase. Now he's massaging the angle so he can get the proximity, but gets too much angle on that power alley. Now trying to dive back into the pocket on that final outer zone.
We see a little fist pump from Mufasa there as he comes across the line. Does a great job getting into that aggressive driving style that we talked about. So right here getting flicked a big angle, diving in, putting the Super in a position to have to play some catch up. Does a great job transitioning right here. And this is the circle of life. We see him rotate his car into this deep zone here. Mufasa looking to really keep that gap established. And the Super just having to look for opportunities to pull it closer. A little bit of a bobbly chase run in the first run, but he seems to do a great job in the lead on that second run of trying to give the judges a little bit more work to do in trying to differentiate a winner.
I was giggling. Someone gave me an Arthur Morgan line in the chat. Oh, man. Oh, we see Will Holloway, a VDC driver, also was the spotter for Kyle Mohan Racing for Formula Drift. He's in the chat as well. But look at Adrian Ronsero to the left, Mustafa to the right. And it's a one more time. You're going to go back to the pits and switch tires, then get back in there. So they don't actually have to have a pit stop, but they reset their cars. So this new tires. There is tire wear in the server for each car, and it definitely affects the drivers after the second or third lap.
It looks like we're going to get a second chance at life for Mufasa, which is more than could be said than about the Mufasa in the Disney movie. That one unfortunately was killed by Scar and will not be coming back.
Micah, what are you doing? Brother, you're traumatizing me with Lion King. That's one of my favorite movies. But here we go. Adrian Ronsero in the lead. And Mustafa in the chase. Oh, look at that. The confidence. I love seeing that. Mustafa, thumbs up. Getting ready to light off his tires in the chase against Adrian Ronsero as they're going into that first outer zone. And beautiful fill out going into that outer wall. And look at Mustafa massaging that car. But he looks like he's sawing at the wheel to try to get that proximity. But Adrian Ronsero, absolutely robotic, like he is the Terminator. And he'll be back for more in the chase after this lead lap.
I love seeing the camera angles, especially when it comes to being able to see them in real life. You can really get an idea of the mentality, the competitor spirit that comes into play here, and it really set the tone for what this lap was throughout the entire run. We got to see him in the chase do everything he could to try and stay up close. We saw a lot more aggressive jabs, a lot of really quick corrections to try and ease things up. Super got a little bit of a gap on him right there in the middle of the power alley. So now it's still anybody's game. Anything can happen in drifting. So now we're going to have to see what's going to happen in that chase. And now we've seen him on his previous two runs. The lead was really his strong suit. He felt really good getting out there up front and just putting down a killer of a run.
And here's Adrian Ronsero in the chase and Mustafa in the lead. And you saw him right before crossing his arms like he's about to eat it all up going into this power alley. Huge angle. Holds that e-brake a little bit and then shifts up and gets all the way through to the last two outer zones. That looks like it was a big choke up from Adrian, maybe we'll just dissect that here, Alec.
Yeah, let's take a look as they come through this first part of the zone. Both of them doing a good job. A little bit of a fallback there for the Super. He needs to pick it up here in the power alley. He's still not able to get close enough here, but this is where we see the risk get taken on the surge. A little bit of a tire drop there, one tire off, and then not really making full use of that transition there. That's the best position to try and make a dive. And it looks like the Supra tried to do it, but maybe grabbed a little bit of too much angle and probably took that momentum away that was needed to get in there. And look at that camera angle too. You can see inside the wheel how tube frame, the engine, all that stuff is all modeled in there. I love the detail of some of these 3D models.
Left for Ronsero, right for Mustafa. And Adrian Ronsero gets the win and moves on. Oh, man. And, hey, Alec, we got a compliment in chat for you. His jokes are keeping me in the stream, and that's from Adrenaline Junkie Jake. And I am so happy you are enjoying the commentary from both of us. We love doing this stuff because we love this motorsport itself. And, man, if we could blend virtual to real life, that's what we love to do. Getting both cultures and all together. Right. We have our next battle here. It is our 2024 champion, Ernestus Jaku Bellis versus William Wallman from Finland in the S14.9. Jaku, last year he was running at A90 Supra. This year he's running at G87. He was able to go to Poland because he won the whole series last year. Let's see how Jaku competes. Nice initiation, goes that first outer zone, and you saw the chase guy getting a jump start so he could get that close proximity right off the rip. Look at Wallman riding the door of Jaku, and Jaku is doing a great job in that power alley, using what he needs to keep a smooth lead lap. And man, oh man, that was like a velvet cake.
Jaku has always been one of the people to make it pretty far into these competitions. We see him do a great job just being really smooth and collected as he comes through this outside zone. Coming through the power alley, he does a great job of just getting out to this wall, filling again this zone in the chase position. We're looking to see that opportunity used right here in that corner where we see the opportunity to kind of flick to bigger angle, dive in. He looks like he somewhat capitalizes on it. Could have gone deeper, but now it's time to figure out if there's a specific reason why the lead driver's last name is Wallman. Is he going to be able to get up on those walls, or is Wallman just his name passed down to his family and has nothing to do with his ability to drift?
Here we go. We got Wallman coming into that first outer zone and is trying to get a close proximity to that wall, man. As we're going into that inner clip, and you see Ernestus Jaku just getting as close as possible, rubbing the back bumper with his front bumper, and Wallman coming into this final outer zones. A great job in the lead, but a fantastic job of the chase from Jaku.
Oh man, Wallman, let's see if you can get up on this wall, man. You see him on this replay, get up out to this outside zone. He's great at doing a good job of getting onto this wall. But we do see in the chase right here, we want to focus on this D-cell zone right here. A great surge by the BMW to try and pick up the slack there on the outside zone. Does a great job here staying close. The drivers are really putting in work on these judges, making them have to really pick apart these runs. I do think BMW maybe did a little bit better at using some of those zones, but the judges already have a decision.
And this Jaku gets the win and moves on. Man. And these judges
putting
are
it
also
on the wall.
We have these judges here today, and they are Drift Masters judges competing or judging this competition. So it's fantastic to see that aspect. And they're able to see kind of like how the track flows if they do any changes for the virtual side. So that's why a lot of the time, all the virtual drift masters are 2 weeks prior.
Yep, and Wallman, instead of putting it on the wall, he's going to be putting it on the trailer. So hopefully we'll see him at the next round. He is currently trailer man.
Here we go. We got Gubarev versus Jordi Lopez from the Dominican Republic. Dominicano! Out here. He is surprised. Wait, I'm on camera? Here we go. He's going to be in the chase. And Gubarev in the lead with the BMW, coming in with a nice scanty flick. Looking at the Dominicano coming in here and trying to rub the door on my guy Gert Gubarev as he's doing a absolutely banger of a lead run. Here comes a D-cell zone. Lopez goes and tries to surge into the pocket, makes contact with Gert, and he is a little upset there. Jordy is a wild card, but he also is good in the sim NASCAR region.
Yeah, here we see him dive in right here. It's going to be a tough chase run for him. We see him get through in the beginning of the run. He's smooth. He's dancing. He's like he's bylining to Bilo Del Beeper, listening to his rev limiter as he comes off the corners, doing a great job trying to fill in that gap. But here he knows he's got to fill that proximity by the end of the run. He goes for the dive right here, and a one touch, two touch into the wall, pushes the lead driver and causes an incident. So unfortunately, he had the rhythm, but he just fell off the beat. Maybe he had two left feet. But now he's got to put it back together again. He's got to really just hammer down a lead position, because if the chase driver does make a mistake and ends in a 0, he could get it one more time. So he's just got to really gun it and hope that the chase driver is going to get a little greedy trying to close the gap. But if I am the BMW's spotter, I'm telling him just do a clean run. So let's see if he's going to take that advice.
Here's Gert Kubersep in the chase, and Jordi Lopez in the lead, coming in with the Dominican flag up top, representing his home nation as he is going into that interclip. Beautiful fill out. Look at him go to that outer wall, rubbing that back bumper on it, and going to the C-cell zone. Huge angle. Gert Kubersep is able to slow himself down, and he's given that safe chase run right there. But Jordi Lopez, oh my goodness.
It was a great run to see him try and redeem himself. He does a great job getting the outside zone, lots of angle, but the BMW pretty much just being calculated and just putting a structured, conservative run together. And that's really the best thing to do in this position. If you know that one already zeroed out by causing an incident, then you as the chase driver are put in a position where it doesn't make sense to try and take any massive risk to get close. Just make sure you...
There we go. We got Gert Kubersep to the left.
There we go.
And back. Gert Kubersep gets the win and moves on. Great battle from Jordi Lopez. And you probably got so excited your headset unplugged.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. but yeah, pretty much was just saying, you know, in these positions, that's where the spotter really comes in handy. That's a perfect example, because all you knew is that you got put into the wall. Spotter gets to say, yep, that was his fault. Take it easy.
Okay, so we're going to be doing a 4-minute break after we show this bracket, but this bracket looks stacked for the sim competition. Alec, what are you looking forward to for this competition? What wowed you on this layout, and for all these drivers, what are they going to kind of like adjust?
Well, looking at these runs, hopefully, you know, in real life, what's different is that you got a lot of time to kill. You're kind of like watching the other competitors yourself. So I'm sure some of these drivers have the stream up, but the real competitive way to do this is see what all the rest of the drivers are doing and then try to figure out where the weak point is in most of their runs. In this virtual series, it's even more important to do that. So I don't know how many drivers are taking advantage or not. But just to point that out, after the power alley, there's that one outside zone where the cars all have to be rotated, deep angle, a little bit of left foot brake, and then they set themselves up for that last wall. That is where all of these drivers want to be looking for opportunity, that if there is a gap, to close it there. Because if there's a gap and you don't use it as an opportunity for the rest of the run, there's no more opportunity to get close. So we'll go on to our break, and we'll see if some of the drivers put that together, and we get some more winners out of this.
Virtual Drift Masters is back in 2025 and it's coming in hot. This season, 10 Drift Masters pros step into the sim to battle 40 of the last season's best virtual drivers in a showdown like no other. With 7 rounds of high-stakes action and top 32 broadcasts every Sunday, the stage is set for something legendary. And calling all the action, you may ask? It's me, Tiny, bringing the hype, the energy, and every tire-shredding moment. This is Virtual Drift Masters 2025. Let's go.
Shadow tags the wall, almost throws it away as Hynes backs it in across the line.
Unbelievable again. What a final. What a finish. Lori Hynen is your 2024 champion.
And we are back for round 3 on top 16 battles. My name is Jonathan Tiny Warby, and I'm here with my partner in crime, Alec Lightning McQueen, as the co-commentator. Alec, you've been having exciting battles today, man. It's just been insane.
Yeah, it's been great. You're Jonathan. I'm constipated, and now I'm excited to see the top 8 shape. So we just had top 16, we had top 32, and now we're at the Great 8. If you're just now joining us, this has been a pretty interesting event. It's a very fast track with only a couple opportunities to correct 4 mistakes. So we've seen some, really dramatic events here. We've actually seen a handful of crashes, but because this is virtual, thankfully these drivers are okay. The cars are fine, and they get to just load up to the next round. So, and this has really been an exciting part of this too, is that it's an efficient competition. Hasn't taken very long. We were able to get through top 32 and top 16 pretty quickly. Now things are going to really speed up as we get to the top of the bracket, and it's going to get harder for the judges to make some decisions. So let's jump right back into it.
Yeah, Waronen versus Artem Chulkov. And Artem Chulkov is going to be in that BMW. Waronen is in that Mercedes. You see Chulkov with his hat down, cap forward, yeehaw. Let's see how he rips it with that BMW. And you see that Smoke Daddy diesel engine going out there. Oh, Chulkov makes a huge correction. Maybe some contact on that wall as he is going into this outer zone 3. And beautiful fill out from our lead driver Waronen as they're going all the way through to this decel zone where Chulkov is keeping the proximity right there where he needs it to be.
Great run and welcome in back eight, but Chulkov might have choked up as he came into this wall right here. Did a great job coming in, but he ended up hitting the rear bumper a little bit, losing his composure, but he didn't come to a complete straight, and he was able to get back into it through the power alley, glues himself to the Mercedes. This right here is that one corner where I said is kind of your last opportunity to reel in your lead driver, and he does a great job across the line.
Alec, take this run. That comment just set me full.
There you go. We're going to have Chulkov in the lead. Now he needs to definitely lock down, and Waronen better not be worrying about making any mistakes. He's going to come across. And here we go. Initiating into the first corner, doing a great job grabbing some angle. The Mercedes right behind him, getting a little bit of door tapping right there on that front wheel, matching the angle as they come through the power alley, looking to get to this outside zone, use as much of the track as possible to speed themselves up. Here's where he's got to rotate himself in. Mercedes diving in with more angle than the lead driver as they come around this last corner, glued to his door.
Oh, man. Okay, we're going to this drone replay. You see Waronen in the chase and being super aggressive. And my goodness, Chulkov doing a great job filling out that first 2 outer zones, transitioning into that reference point right there, then rubbing that back bumper, using some left foot braking. And Waronen just being able to be dialed in focus, using a little bit more angle to slow himself down so he could be able to surge into the pocket towards the last part of that track. Did I do a good job, Alec?
That was great. I loved it. That was poetry. I'm proud. Proud dad moment.
Damn great.
Have I shown you I got a tactical baby carrier also? I gotta send you a picture of that.
Oh my goodness. Is it with the Molly?
Oh no, you're gonna love it.
Here. Oh man. But we have the decision being made by the judges. Waronen is in that Mercedes. And Chulkov is in that BMW. It is wild here. Adrenaline Junkie hitting bangers in the chat that made me kind of break character. And yep. Alec just sent me a picture of his tactical baby holder. But here we go. Left for Waronen, right for Chulkov. I know it says Cameron Mustard, but it's actually Waronen. Oh. The suspense is killing me.
Come on, judges.
We got
Let us
this.
know who won. Oh my god, I'm stimming right now. Who won? Tell us.
Oh wait, they're switching the name.
Oh, they're fixing the name. Alright. Where's my fidget spinner? What happened?
We're reloading the judges bracket.
Oh my gosh.
Waronen is in the black 190. And Chulkov is in the BMW, the teal, gray, and white.
I feel like I'm waiting for them to like introduce the Krabby Patty. It's how long are we like "Dee-da-da-lee-da-da-lee-da, dee-da-da-lee-da-da-lee-da, dee-da-da-lee-da-da-lee-da, wait, we're waiting. We gotta hold on. Let us reload the thing. Okay. "Dee-da-da-lee-da-da-lee-da." We're waiting. I don't know who won.
Man.
Cigaro. We're just yappers, dude. We have no idea. We're
winner
waiting on the
is
thing to come up on the screen.
Waronen.
Oh,
Wait, oh, we're getting it on comms.
say that again?
Who won?
Okay, so it was who won?
The
Production.
winner is Waronen.
Okay, Waronen gets the win.
Yay!
Moves
Waronen
on.
gets the win. We know you have to trust
Waronen-
us. We have the producers in our ear, and they told us Waronen won.
That diesel engine is unleashing war on the track. Like that? That's a little pun.
Oh yeah.
It's
Waronen.
punny. we love entertaining the viewers here, and you guys giving us the positive feedback and supporting us, the Drift Masters crew. Follow the socials. They have Virtual Drift Masters on Instagram and all the social media websites. And here we go. We have Vitaly Isaev versus Virgil Choisit. Virgil Choisit is going to be in the chase. He's in VR. Getting ready. You see that button box on the left too. Getting him set up. Goes Vitaly Isaev coming in with a big Scandi flick going into that first outer zone, and then gets the back bumper on that first outer wall. Beautiful fill out as he is dabbing that left foot brake just a little bit to keep that angle and going all the way through the power alley. Oh, the snappy transition right to angle going to the final outer zone, and beautiful fill out from the lead driver.
And Choisit's doing a great job impressing me on his chase run, but it's not my choice. It's the judges to decide if he's going to win or not. Now that was clean. See what I did with his last name? All right, here we go. Transition through the power alley. Great job sweeping across his bumper and keeping proximity. He wants to stay nice and close here, and he uses this outside zone to surge in. He dives a little bit too deep and has to gather it back together across that outside zone, but a textbook lead run from the lead driver as well.
Here we go. We got the second half of this battle. Virgil Choisit has a choice right now to put a banger of a lead. And Vitaly Isaev is going to be in the chase. Let's see if he'll make the decision to stick it right to the door, right off the rip. Look at that. Oh, my goodness. The proximity from Vitaly Isaev, able to slow himself down so he doesn't make contact with Choisit, as Choisit is riding the second outer wall. And that's huge snap. Oh, my goodness. Flirting with disaster, like the song, almost hitting the grass, and a little bit of contact made towards the final outer zone.
Couple of these little taps right here as they come through the first corner. We see a little bit of a tap come here from getting close proximity, diving in, letting him know right there on his door, I'm touching you, I'm touching you. And this is the one situation where that doesn't make us really uncomfortable when we want to try and cover it up and not let anyone know if there's actually some Diddy stuff going on. But as we come through this transition, we see them get to the outside zone. Great job here, a little bit of contact again, but the BMW in the lead seems to just stay unfazed by all of it. And to answer the chat, why a lot of people like to use BMWs even in the virtual series, I mean, there's just such a huge fandom for BMWs and drifting that was really started in real life, and you can't blame them because in real life, the aftermarket support is massive for BMWs, and it's just because they are initially a great car for it. The wheelbase is good, they got a lot of side bite, they get a lot of natural inherent traction. So when you're looking to pick a drift car, you're looking to modify it and really get the peak amount of performance out of what the car as a platform is capable of. And there's a lot that can be enhanced from the BMW chassis. So, and it's not a surprise at all too, especially in Europe. This is a European series primarily. And so a lot of these drivers, I mean, BMW is a European car manufacturer. So it's the same thing here in the US. We've got a lot of American cars. We've got the RTR team in Formula Drift. You know, we see a lot of Corvettes. So it does make sense that BMW starts to become one of the more popular platforms across the pond, as I hear people sometimes say. And
Right.
and I'm all for it. I like to see it.
Virtual Choisit gets the win and moves on. Oh, man. Alec. I don't know if you heard me laughing, but I am so happy you kept going. But here we go. We have our next battle coming out here. Choisit's doing a great job. And now we have our next Battle of the Titans. Nico the Kid Stelea. And I believe that's Martinez? I think that's Martinez coming up to the line. No, Daniel Andrejev. Martinez, Daniel Andrejev have a very similar livery. But look at him in the chase. Nico the Kid Stelea in the lead. Here we go. Let's see as this young buck gets shredded out here. Huge angle goes to that first outer zone. Escugo livery 400Z as he is going into that first two outer zones, rubbing that back bumper on that wall. And my goodness, going to this third outer zone, beautiful fill out transition in that power alley is buttery smooth from the Kid Stelea as he is going to the final outer zone. But look at Andrejev, just straight dooring him.
Both of these drivers are young bucks coming into competition. They both are I don't know how old most of these both of these guys are, but as you can see, clearly drifting age as they come through the power alley, as they come to the outside zone. They do a great job transitioning. Right here is where we see most of these drivers looking to pick up the extra slack. They do a great job positioning himself in the chase, getting himself lined up. Really clean driving from both of them as they come across the line.
We'll have them switch sides here. Nico the Kid Stelea is going to be in the chase. Daniel Andrejev in the lead. Daniel very focused, cool, calm, composed. And you have the Kid Stelea just chilling out there with his socks on his pedals as he is going in right now, just rubbing the back bumper on the wall and then rubbing the front tire on the door of Daniel Andrejev. And then it looks like a buttery smooth transition from the chase, just giving him enough room so he can stay close proximity. A little bit of contact, super aggressive from Nico the Kid Stelea.
Contact might be a big factor here on two runs where both drivers did a great job executing the course as you come to this outside zone. BMW do a deep run in his wing over the wall as they come through the power alley. We look to see him use all the track right here, shoot wide, carry as much of that momentum as possible. 400Z does a great job diving right here as we see them go to the inside. The one tire off track from the BMW up front, and the 400Z comes in with a little bit of a tap there and manages to keep both cars under composure. But that tire drop might be a pretty big factor here because Both drivers did a great job in the lead and in the chase with pretty equivalent driving styles, I'd say. They both seem to be returning service the same way. But we'll have to see what the judges are ultimately going to take a part in that. We've got the polls in chat. We'd love to see everyone voting. Got 63 votes on that last one. And so far, it looks like in most cases, the polls from the chat have matched what the judges have ultimately ruled.
Nico, the kid Stelea, gets the win and moves on. Great job from Nico. That kid's been surprising me and getting me excited every year I see him compete.
All right, let's just take it easy before we start saying that kids are getting us excited. We have to be real careful.
Oh, Jesus.
What
I
we
mean
mean
his
to
skill
say,
level.
His
His
what
skill
we mean to
level
say,
gets me excited.
the driving
That's still
of that driver,
Yes,
who
thank
just so happens to be of a younger age, the driving and the sportsmanship gets us in a very platonic way excited.
Yes.
There we go.
I'm proud of how he is elevating his skill through each year I see him.
We dodged a bullet.
Yes, that was a great bullet, and that's why I have you as my lawyer here. Here we go. We got Martinez Ostreika in the chase. Alexander Element in the lead. Coming in here. Nice initiation. Going to that first outer zone. And beautiful fill out in that first outer zone and transitioning into this outer zone 3. Let's see how that surge goes from Martinez. Does a great job shallowing up angle so he can massage the proximity, and it looks like a tire drop from the lead driver Alexander Element going all the way through. Great job.
Let's take a look at this replay. Doing a great job through here on the sweep. Doing a good job. Ostreika always been really consistent, doing a good job at just the consistency and the precision of the course. As he comes through this outside zone, using all the track once again. We see the BMW in the chase, kind of wavering a little bit as he looks for the opportunity to dive in. Ooh, that might have been a one tire off situation on that outside zone. We'll have to look at that on the replay. And then as they come across the outside zone, that last clip, it looks like the chase driver might have shallowed up a little bit, not a straighten, but a little bit less on angle than what he would have liked to see. So Element and Ostreika, I think we've actually seen them face off in the last round. And look at that, hand out the door. Hat in the door. Tell them to come take a look at this. Whoa, temperature is rising.
Martinez coming out here with a BMW, coming in with a nice Scandinavian flick, and look at Alexander Element matching angle, getting the close proximity, sawing at the wheel so he can keep that proximity alive. The inner clip was beautifully filled out. Look at Martinez Ostreika, who hits outer zone 3 into the power alley. Nice fill out, and now using that reference point so he can get to the last two outer zone. Aggressive from Martinez. Wow.
That was incredible. He asked him for the business. He said he reached his arm out the window and said, come on over here, tap my door. And he had to know what was going to come next. Ostreika said, if you're going to invite me into your house, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take that invitation. He gets right there on the zone, gets into the door, even on this deep dive right here on this outside corner, gives him just enough room for his bumper to transition past. It keeps proximity the entire run. So now we're going to have to see if Element introducing a little bit of antagonistic behavior there is going to pay off for him, or if he just invited the villain to come in and take that competition from him. And the judges are going to have to just take a look at that. I didn't even know you could do that in this game. Just reach out, and he must have had I guess you can do that with the Oculus controller or something. You can reach out.
No, it's a extension config on there, so it makes the driver animate out there. But Alexander Element and Martinez Ostreika to the right, Alexander Element to the left. And Martinez gets the win. I did get an explanation from the judges. Alexander Element made the mistake after out of zone 4, trying to save not going out of the track on his lead. So that was lead versus lead from my understanding. It was a smoother lead from Martinez than Alexander Element.
All right. Well, now they're making their way off the track Great driving and a great battle, and it's only going to get spicier from here as we get closer to the final. These drivers are all the drivers that continue to see each other event after event. There's been a lot of consistency as to what drivers we regularly see in the Grade 8 or in the top 4.
Here we go. We got our next battle. Alan Hynes versus Stephen Hatcher. Stephen Hatcher is from Canada. Alan Hynes from Ireland. Here we go. Alan Hynes coming in here with a nice initiation, going to that first outer zone, using that E-brake so he could get right to outer zone 1 and then left foot brake to outer zone 2. And look at Stephen Hatcher trying to sink his hatchet to the door of Alan Hynes, the Irishman that has the Guinness in the front of his car so it could spin around like Takumi. But oh, the contact probably made the Guinness spill a little bit. And we're going to see the replay here.
Looks like there might have been a little bit too much aggression, but the Irishman driving like his lucky charms are on the line, driving through that lead position. The S-chassis in the chase, getting a little too close and making a little bit of contact. Right here, coming from the power alley through this outside zone is where we see a little bit of the tire drop there, and that looks like it might have been 2 tires off in the chase car. So they're gonna have to take a look at that. One tire off is pretty much just a slap on the wrist and does not help you run. It's a deduction. 2 tires off is considered incomplete. So we'll have to see what happened there. But now the Irishman's going to get a chance to switch it up. Got the cloverleaf green car. It is so fitting.
Here we go. Stephen Hatcher in the lead, coming in with a nice initiation on the first outer zone. Look at Stephen Hatcher doing a great job in the lead, but look at Alan Hynes just reeling him in like a big old fish, going into that second outer zone and third outer zone. A good aggressive chase from Alan Hynes, the Drift Masters driver, coming out here being super aggressive, trying to surge into the pocket of Stephen Hatcher.
Here we go, a great initiation by the S-chassis, throwing a lot of angle. Got into the zone a little bit late, but he manages to get deep where he's supposed to be as he comes through the power alley. The Irishman's right behind him as they come through this outside zone. Does a great job. This right here is this defining moment, is whether or not they can go off. He manages to keep it on track as the green S-chassis Hynes right behind him, and it gets a little bit of a gap right there across the last zone. But pretty consistent run. I think right there, a big factor on who's going to walk away with this one is going to have to do again with that off-track incident on the first run.
Yeah, it definitely will. Alan Hynes, and there's another driver, or sim driver here. I didn't make the qualifying this round, but Reese Tatterson, they are teammates in the sim world. But here we go. Left for Hynes, right for Hatcher. And Alan Hynes gets the win and moves on. Great job from Alan Hynes. Stephen Hatcher has been killing it, being an absolute shredder out here. And it's cool with you were talking about RTR before. They teamed up with Alan Hynes and Reese for Virtual Drift Championship VDC, and they were running RTRs in there. That was pretty cool.
And a lot of these drivers, I love it. They are drivers in real life. You got Alan Hynes, who competes in real life and competes in IDC. He's got his YouTube channel up where he talks about a lot of his car builds, competition, and his virtual car modeled. Very inspired, heavily inspired by his real life car.
Yep, and here we have Korpalinski. Speaking of inspired by their real life car, you'll see this car in Drift Masters. We have Joachim Haug in the chase with the E30, and Korpalinski being as smooth as he can be, unfazed, just focused, laser focused. You see on the bottom left of his camera, and it looks like he has a 3-monitor setup, just getting right aggressive to each zone.
floats into that first zone. E30 looking for the opportunity to get nice and close and send themselves up. Right here, they both seem to be getting into the rhythm as they come into the power alley. They both set themselves up, use all the track and get out wide. E30 looking to stay close as they come through this transition right here. We see him just sort of maintain distance and fall back just a little bit. He uses this next transition to surge and get on the door. A lot of drivers kind of missing the opportunity on that first one. It's a lot more technical to reel in on that first part of that transition, and then the second end they can slap up to the wall. And most of them seem to be making use of that second one. So great job. Had a little bit of opportunity to be closer, but keeps it nice and clean.
Here we go. Power Korpalinski is now in the chase. Chulkov is in the lead. Big old Scandi flick going inside first out of zone. It looks like some contact made from Power Korpalinski, but he's able to get himself back in position to chase down this E30, the small wheelbase compared to that S chassis, going to outer zone 3, and now going in that power alley. Huge fill out from Chulkov and a huge angle to the last two outer zones. Power Korpalinski looks like he backed off a lot. We're going to see the replay here. What are you looking at right here as a judge? Oof.
Yeah, I mean, right here, he's taking a lot of fault by the fact that he pretty much backed the car into the door of the E30, and these are the big mistakes. There's going to be minor ones that are especially intentional, where if you come across the line to try and get closer on proximity, like right here, for example, you can see him step forward into the line. He just wants to be in control. He wants to kind of cover that distance and get close faster. But that first one was just sheer driver error, and the driver error mistakes, rather than the things that deduct points that are intentional and for strategy, definitely are weighted heavier in the judge's eyes. So we'll have to take a look at that, because I don't really think there was anything that was that standoutish about the first run that would look like driver error. So that could be it for him right there, unless he gets lucky and there's like a one more time. But we'll just see. It is in the judge's hands. And we've got Kyle Maves saying, "I bet Allen takes the round." So we'll have to see. He's been driving pretty consistently. I mean, he eats, sleeps, and breathes drifting, both virtually and in real life. So definitely, I mean, these are the competitors in this competition.
And it looks like Chulkov gets the win.
There you go. BMW E30. Yeah, so this right here, 100% probably just came from the fact that he could have stayed in it, maybe pushed it to one more time, but the one mistake was pretty large.
Well, you'll see Power Korpalinski in Drift Masters in 2 weeks. He's such a nice fellow. Being able to talk to him in the voice chats whenever I get the chance to, he's real chill. If you ever go to Drift Masters and go to his pits, say what's up to him. That's one thing I love about the drifting community. The drivers are usually always loving the fan interaction here. Now we have Darius Ostreika versus Adrian Ronsero. Darius the Don Ostreika. We need to have him have a fedora when he drifts next time. Here we go. Darius coming in with a nice smooth initiation, going to that first out of zone, real buttery smooth, just getting the angle just right so he knows that line he needs to do as he is going to outer zone 2, getting into inner clip 1, and then massaging the angle, then steepening it out, going to outer zone 3. Huge decel as they're going into that reference point area, but look at Darius doing a fantastic job. But Adrian Ronsero was a little bit forward in the pocket at the end of the lap.
Yeah, right here, we know that he's going against someone that we regularly see in the grade 8 and top 4 in competitions. So Ostreika up front is keeping it really smooth. Ronsero a little bit wobbly. He's looking to keep up, and he just seems like he can identify that he's starting to fall back. So he looks to try and rush his composure to get back up here. He uses that great opportunity to surge forward. But here, like you said, way far up in the pocket. He wants to be stepped further back, right behind, kind of shadowing the lead car. And instead, he stepped a little bit too far forward.
Now we have Darius the Don Ostreika in the chase. Adrian Ronsero in the lead. Coming in here. What an aggressive initiation. Stepping left, stepping right into the first outer zone, then going to outer zone 2, lighting off those tires as best as possible, and going into outer zone 3 and matching the angle is Darius the Don Ostreika surging into the pocket as they're going to that reference point. You see him floating, a little bit of a slowdown right there. You saw the tires kind of go away and then get back on.
Yeah, right here we see Ostreika get really close from the very beginning. Like we mentioned before, he is a regular competitor that we see get further into these competitions, and he seems to just be glued like a shadow to the door of that Supra as they come across right here. Again, we see this transition where everyone uses the opportunity to kind of sink closer and take a little bit more risk. And if you're close there, then you're going to be glued to them through this last zone, which we do see there. So from our perspective, it looks like that might be a bit of an advantage for the BMW. And replying to Isaac Butler on the chat, Hynes gone yet or not? Yeah, he did just go, and he did move forward, so you will be seeing him again. He's currently still in it. Right now, looking at the chat, we've got the polls going too.
Yeah, I love how everybody's interacting with it. You got 55 people just voting in. We're getting a second replay here on the chase. So see, what would the judges be looking at here? You got the left foot brake in here. Maybe it's that decel on that final outer zone, but let's see. Left for Ostreika, right for Ronsero. And it looks like Darius Ostreika gets the win. It moves on. Man. Man, oh man. Now, this is top 16 battles. It gets better after this because these guys are just straight shredders. You have, I believe this is Heat 7, if I'm not mistaken, of the top 16 battles. So I think we have one more. I might be mistaken here. Let's see. Yep. It looks like it's going to be Jaku versus Gert Kubarsev. This is the final battle for the top 16, and then we'll move on to the grade 8. Got a lot of Gert Kubarsev fans in there. He's going to be in the chase. You have Ernestus Jaku, our last year's champion, still in the fight for the championship before this year. But look at Gert Kubarsev getting right to angle with the lead driver, trying to massage that angle so he could get that close, that proximity all the way through. Here comes that power alley, and nice decel, and smooth as butter as Jaku. Looks like Gert surged so fast that he had to slow down a little bit, that forced a gap.
Yeah, that livery looking to just be associated with the team that seems to be dominating these competitions, with Ostreika and Jaku kind of sharing the same liveries. They come across the zone, doing a great job coming into the power alley, getting lots of speed and momentum to the outside zone, leaving a gap for the E36 to try and have to close. And then he dives in right here. It's almost a tire drop there in the outside zone, and he kind of just falls off the rhythm. He does a great job getting close and just making a little bit of contact across the line. But ultimately, there's definitely some room there. And now Jaku going second. Hopefully his spotters letting him know, there's definitely a gap left behind. Stay close, keep it clean, and you might be moving on to the next round. Meanwhile, you just got to put some distance on him.
Here we go. Jaku is in the chase, and look at him rubbing that front tire on the front quarter panel of Gert Kubarsev. Gert Kubarsev does a great job filling out each zone. Not as close to the wall. Huge angle on outer zone 4. Going into outer zone 5 and 6. Beautiful fill out. Gert is just absolutely diabolical with the angle with that BMW.
Yeah, we see a little bit here as he rotates the car almost backwards in that first outside zone. Does a great job keeping it locked at that angle for most of the run. And we're going to see him flick to it again right here. A little bit shallow because you have to through the power alley, but here we can see him pour it right back on again. Drags his rear bumper almost completely flat against those outside zones. Gives Ostreika a chance to get close. A great lead run. But what are the judges going to think about the chase versus chase?
This is Jaku Bellis, Aros Marine title sponsor on his BMW. And you have Gert Kubarsev with Awake drift livery. I have a question in the chat. Can you cheat on this? Make some AI drive 100-point lead. So each server has a check where there can't be any like AI and certain things that way. So if they if it fails that check, they won't be allowed to join the server. Judges have come to a decision here. It looks like Jaku Bellis gets the win. There was a mistake from Gert, and I think I know exactly the mistake. It was the second outer wall where you saw the correction in the chase from Gert Kubarsev. Jaku was a lot smoother in the chase and keeping a really aggressive chase run. Both leads were really close together, but definitely a good job for both of these drivers. And here's our bracket, our Drift Masters, sponsored by Ragnar Simulator, Strom Wheels, and Money. These are top 8. Waronen, Choisit, Nico the Kid Stella, Martinez Ostreika, Darius Ostreika, Jaku, Alan Hynes, and Joachim Hau. These guys are going to be crazy.
I'm very excited to see this. It's been tons of tremendous action. I mean, half the time I watch Jaku drive, I'm like, are you Jakuing me? Because this is crazy. See, all right, no, that was too much of a stretch. I'm not going to go for that one.
Yeah. Jaku is such a. If you ever get a chance to like hang out and chill with him in the virtual, in Discord or whatever, he's so humble. He's such a good kid. I call him a kid. I'm 33 years old. He's a baby compared to me. But most of these drivers, these pro sim drivers, they're so cool to talk to. They'll like to joke around like a gamer. It's very similar to real world pits with drivers. If you are a gearhead and like to have laughs, Alec, am I wrong about that? Because it seems like it's very similar in that fashion.
Yeah, I mean, everyone with drifting, I feel like it's fun because it's kind of like, you know, you think about kind of how what kind of misfits you run into when it comes to like skateboarding, and how a lot of that has to do with like your style and how you kind of show your personality through your craft. Drifting is the same thing in the car industry, or in the motorsports world, so to speak. Mm-hmm. It's all about, you know, how do you make your car kind of an expression of yourself? How do you make your driving an expression of yourself? And everyone kind of shares that, and it takes this ability to be able to just be really comfortable and really, you know, this enigmatic, charismatic kind of personality. So now we're going into our top 4. Let's get it running, because we've got a winner. There's only going to be one of them that comes away from this round as the champion.
We have our 4 heats for the top 8. Waronen is on the left. Virgil Choisit's on the right. Virgil Choisit's in the chase, and you see that diesel power going into that first outer zone and second outer zone. Great fill out with that Mercedes. Virgil Choisit is trying to dive into the pocket of that 190 Mercedes as he is going into this power alley. And my goodness, the super aggressive angle and the posture of that Mercedes throughout the whole track is really, really cool to see.
Mercedes does a great job just gliding in there. A little bit of a gap that needs to be immediately closed on that first outside zone by the chase driver. Does a good job of taking care of it, though. Here is surging and actually picking up speed through the beginning of the power alley, and then looking to keep that momentum through this outside zone, getting to the last outside. Again, actually starts to fall back a little bit from the Mercedes as they power across the line.
And I know earlier I was talking about the talented designers here and modders for a Settle community. PJ Tantilla waving in chat, one of the ACS members, fantastic modeler in the community. Here we go. You have Waronen in the chase with that 190. Oh my goodness, that 190 Mercedes just touched the door of that BMW of Virgil Choisit. You see the focus of Virgil with the VR. You see him really, oh no!
Oh no!
Oh
my God! Paramedics, get out there! Take a look at this car out.
Here?
All right, we're gonna show the replay while we put the fire out. Looks like he's giving us the thumbs up. All right, we can't have it on screen, so we're running the replay because we can't, in case that was just a too bit of a lethal accident. We don't want to show the families at home, but here it just looks like it just takes too much speed into the corner.
Yeah,
and that was a rough one.
There was some contact before in that decel, but it didn't seem like it upset him too much. And going into the last 2 outer zones, he just understeered into the wall. Oh, PJ Santillo saying much love, Tiny, and he misses me. I've been really busy with the real life drift season and trying to have like a relaxing time. I love how the drift season. I think there's 3 months out of the year that's off here in Florida. Alec, would you say I'm wrong about that? Probably
I don't know.
December. I think it's December, January, and November. But when drift season happens, and I'm pretty sure it's with drivers as well, it's just back to back getting stuff situated. Especially doing it with Virtual Drift Masters, a fantastic showcase of sim drivers all around the world. Mustard's not there. Waronen and Choisit. We're gonna see who wins here.
We've got some chat here. Ahmed says two
Darren
contacts.
Boscia. Darren Boscia.
Yeah, unfortunately,
Ahmed
you will
says
not be able
didn't
to
let them
see the
transition.
results as the graphics are not working correctly at this moment, as you can see. So the winner is Virgil, because the contact was the deciding point, and Yona just came too hot.
Oh, okay. So on that D-cell, Waronen came in too hot and kind of forced him into going off track.
Yeah, he pushed him out, and that moved this line too wide, and after the transition, there was suddenly wall. When if he would not be hit it, then he would not end up in the wall. So that's why we need to call it like that, as you should not be hitting your leader.
Got it.
Yeah. We practice.
Can they hear that on stream? Do we need to
no
repeat
violence.
that?
Yeah. He was talking to us in the stream. That was David Callas, and Darren Boscia, a Pro-Am driver. He's saying he will not make it to the second round of that competition. I am sad about that, but I hope everything is well with you, Darren. And then Joseph JK with the 3-wheel and Rillis. We represent out here, but we got Nico the Kid Stelea and Martinez Ostreika in the chase. And Nico the Kid Stelea getting super aggressive with the angle, going to that first wall, using that left foot brake to get as close as possible to that wall, going to inner clip. And look at Martinez being super aggressive, holding that proximity, and then giving him some room so he could transition. Look at Nico the Kid Stelea going all the way out to the final outer zone. Wow.
There we go. Tremendous driving. I can begin to understand why this minor gets you excited. As he gets across the first corner, he does a great job getting deep into the outside zone. And from here, he only begins to pick up even more momentum as he gets to the outside zone here. Looking to keep that proximity. His BMW in the chase position as he comes through this outside zone. But this right here is where it starts to get tricky. He is really doing everything he can do in the chase to get close. He's able to pull it off by the end, but the lead car is just locked in from beginning to end. Here again, the animation with the hand out the door from Ostreika, letting him know, come and get on my door.
There you go. It's an absolute shredder, and Martinez knows that. And look at the Scandi flick going to that first out of zone. Look at Nico stepping forward in the pocket and then can back off so he can rub that tire on the door, getting straight deep into that pocket of Martinez as Martinez is going to his third outer zone. Power alley is beautiful, snapping and going into that D-cell zone and then going to the final outer zone. Look at the tenacity of both of these drivers.
Ostreika doing a great job trying to get that lead going, but then of course you've got the doorbagger right there, 400Z on with the tire on the fender as it comes through the power alley, being relentless, keeping that proximity as it comes through. This is where they got to give each other a little bit of room, and he does that right here with the transition, just sweeping past his bumper and getting right back on the throttle. Tremendous lead and chase run by both drivers.
I want to say, if you ever follow drivers on Instagram, Nico's post with his mother was adorable but funny as heck, because it's not normal to see an adult in the passenger seat while the kid is having fun and going sideways on purpose. So it's hilarious to watch. But you have Nico the Kid Stelea on the left, Martinez Ostreika on the right, and it's a one more time. One more time for this battle. We're going to see them run it back.
And for our Spanish viewers, that's an uno más tiempo, and we are loving it right now. These guys were both pushing it and to the limit. Both leads were tremendous. Both chases were tremendous. Tiny is looking to keep himself out of harm's way and just specifying that the younger individuals driving is what gets him excited for the motorsport from a professional perspective strictly. And that was not a commentary on the fact that he is a minor. So very excited to see him drive. A tremendous driver. And Tiny is as professional as they get. So we're glad we can be on the same page about that.
We have the second battle of the top 8, and I think we might have David come in here and explain the one more time of
Yes,
this
I'm
battle.
here. So what was not clear about the call of one more time? I would like to hear that.
Just one explanation on why they came to that decision of was it so close, the mistakes on each side, or you just want to see them run it again?
Yes,
See if one person.
Of course, we would like to see it once more. But yeah, that was some mistakes they need to work on. If we look on Nico on his lead run, he was having like a smaller angle at outer zone 4, outer zone 5, a little bit trying to run away. When Martinez was hitting the curb in the no-go area, which is big deduction, and he was like too wide in the guideline, it was again showing us that he was trying to run away.
Okay.
On chase positions, both guys were really nice and close. So we liked the chase, but guys, make better leads, and we will see who will be able to win.
Well, there you have it. I mean, the name of the game is don't leave it in the judges' hands at all. You always got to make sure that you're the differentiating winner. Leave it in the judges' hands. It's either going to go one more time or the other driver may win not in your favor. So let's see what happens now.
Nico the Kid Stelea snapping to angle, going to outer zone 1, and then rubbing the back bumper and weighing on the outer zone 2 of that wall, going to a second outer wall. Beautiful fill out from Nico. He looks like he's going so much faster right now and super aggressive. And look at the wheel cam right there, just as smooth as butter, going all the way to the final outer zone.
Right here, he definitely wants to try and clean things up so he can separate himself as the one that needs to be moving on to the next round. Does it come through the outside power alley? Does a great job touching and going on outside zone. Does it come through this deep outside area here? This is where we see a lot of tire drops. He does a great job using the full track without putting any of that at risk. But the BMW glued to the door as they get across the finish line.
Now we're going to have them switch sides here. Nico the Kid Stelea is going to be in the chase. Martinez is going to be in the lead. Let's see how Martinez comes out here in the lead. See if he does a better run. And a big old Scandinavian flag holding the e-brake so he can float into the outer zone 1. And man, oh man, he lights off those tires going to outer zone 2 and transitioning in from the inner clip 1 to outer zone 3 was fantastic from Martinez. But look at the surge from Nico the Kid Stelea getting super aggressive. And Maya, oh my, matching angle on that final turn, almost making contact.
Anywhere where proximity was throughout this run, I really like to see it. So on this first zone, you could see glued to the door, almost parallel door-to-door lines as they come across that first outside zone. Does a great job just giving a little bit of room to transition and then back on the throttle to use the rest of the track through the fast alley, power alley, I should say. Diving into this outside zone. Here is the last chance to kind of clean things up. He does a great job at just reinitiating, getting close. I mean, this was tough. It already went one more time once. The judges are really going to have to pull this one apart and see if they can pick a winner. And we just heard it kind of in his own words, but basically saying, do not leave it in the judges' hands. If you want to move on and you want it to be clear and concise, you don't want there to be any controversial calls, you've really got to look for any areas where the opponent's making a mistake and work with your spotters and try to really emphasize where you can point yourself as the better driver.
Oh my goodness. Now they're definitely going to be watching the replays to see where the mistakes lie and figuring out what's going on. And I see the questions in the chat. If you go to vdm.gp, you could get the app and download the tracks. They're usually released the week after we do the series here. But Nico the Kid Stelea to the left, Ostreika to the right, and it looks like a split decision. Martinez, Ostreika gets the win and moves on to the final four. These guys are not making it easy for the judges. And we're right now seeing Alan Hynes go up to the line. He's going to be in the chase. Looks like Haug is in the lead here. Joachim Haug in the BMW E30. Alan Hynes in the S14.3. And let's see this Drift Masters driver compete. Here we go. Third battle of our top 8. And coming in with a nice initiation from that BMW. Look at Alan Hynes getting close proximity right off the rip, matching the angle of the E30. A lot of people have been struggling matching the angle with the E30 throughout the competition today. Going into this power alley, beautiful fill out. Look at that, mirrored in that decel zone. And Alan Hynes, oh my goodness.
Let's take a look at the drone replay and see Alan Hynes collect himself right here. He does a great job getting on the E30 outside zone. E30 actually ping balling back and forth, touching the wall and then touching Alan Hynes' car as they come across into the power alley. It does create a little bit of a drop back, but should have created much more considering the mistakes made by the E30 in the lead. Alan Hynes right there wraps it up, gets nice and clean, staying in the pocket, never really stepping forward throughout the entire run. An absolute clean display of driving from Alan Hynes.
We're going to have them switch sides. Alan Hynes in the lead. Joachim Haug in the chase, looking like a cyberpunk character right now. Scratching his I thought he was waving at the camera. He was scratching his beard. Fixing those goggles. It's driving with those goggles for this long. It's so hot. But here he goes. I'm hot and sweaty. That's what I mean. Coming in, Alan Hynes coming in with a nice initiation, getting right to angle, what he needs. And look at Joachim Haug. Oh my goodness. That contact made there probably forced that big correction from Alan Hynes. Alan Hynes is just really focused, trying to see all the visual cues going to each side. And what happened there on the initiation?
Yeah, this looks like it might be one that Alan Hynes is going to walk away with as it comes through the zone here.
Oh.
Definitely an issue there from the E30, just getting too close and making contact. And then we see a couple more mistakes from the E30 right here. So we go through the power alley, and then on this transition right here, we see a tire drop from the E30 as they come past the grass. And then as they come to the transition here, E30 trying to pick up the speed here and try and close the gap, and it's not enough to get it done by the end of the run. So that one might be a little bit more of a decisive call from the judges. We'll have to see how long it's going to take for the actual cue to come up and the display to let us know who won. And we got the poll running right now to see what the chat thinks about who won this one. Looks like the judges have come to their decision, and unanimously, Hynes gets the win in the S14.3.
Moving on to the final four. Whoever made that prediction in chat, it's a good prediction. If I were you and you have lottery tickets in your country or town, I think you should purchase them. Here we are in Finland, virtually wise. This is the next round of the Real Life Drift Master series. And we mimic each layout of what you're going to see in real world. And we're sponsored by Strom Wheels, Money, Ragnar Simulator, Darius the Don Ostreika versus Ernestus Jaku Bellis. If you ever want to see a King Kong versus Godzilla battle, this is what you got here. And the final battle of the top 8. Look at Darius the Don Ostreika in the lead, getting super aggressive angle. And look at Jaku Bellis unfazed. Darius the Don Ostreika has the red and blue headlights. That's how you can tell the difference from these two drivers, both teammates, as they're going into this power alley. Jaku Bellis is getting the nice close proximity, stepping forward in the pocket, now diving back in and mimicking the angle and the speed of Darius the Don Ostreika.
This is going to be a fight to the death as we've got two teammates here. Both of them would ideally love to only run into each other into the finals, but unfortunately coming from the same side of the bracket, only one of them is going to have the pleasure of moving on in this competition. So while they were teammates on any other day, when they come head-to-head and against each other in the bracket, they are enemies again, and they've got to do the best they can to distinguish themselves as drivers, and both drivers right there setting the tone on the lead and the chase.
Now we have Darius Don Ostreika in the chase. Ernestus Jaku in the lead. Ernestus coming in with a nice snap initiation, ripping e-brake. Oh my goodness. Darius Don Ostreika was so close to that outer wall and deep in the pocket of Jaku Bellis as they're going into this power alley. A huge surge, left foot brake from Darius Don Ostreika so he could close in that proximity, go into this final outer zone, and beautiful chase from Darius.
Jaku keeping it smooth, but Darius doing an incredible job getting into this pocket and just staying there. You see contact and him just nudging his teammate, letting him know that he is right behind him and he's not getting away. Same thing here, even through the power alley where it's really hard to get into the pocket and get that close. He does a great job. He stays composed through the decel zone and then surges once again. And then he taps him one more time with his tire on the door as they come across the line.
Valino tires there. These guys put so much effort in their cars. They drive so many hours on the sim. I don't even know what to make of this.
Literally so many hours. So many hours. Frankly, more hours than anyone else I know. Ask anybody.
I don't do great at that impression. I wish I was better. Love people that have like a solid Trump impression.
We have a question in the chat. How can I take part in these comps? The Assetto Corsa community has a lot of competitions. Last year we had a pretty much all the drivers had to petition, had to show their resumes for the sim world. But here we go, and it looks like Ernestus Jaku gets the win and moves on. Man, he's in the final four, and it's going to be a great boost in this standings. Darius, I'm so sorry to see you leave, but man, oh man, you are exciting. Here we are, the final four. The winner moves on to the battle of first and second place. The loser goes to battle of third place. And man, looking through these battles, what are you thinking of, Alec? These two battles, what are these? What are the impressions of these drivers? 104.
Oh, that's a different question. What I'm thinking is I really have to poop. But my impression is of the drivers is that they are incredibly talented. What I really like to see here is just the dedication. I mean, most of these drivers, you're mentioning how many hours they're just spending on the sim. And in addition to that, I mean, they even spend a decent amount of money on their sim rigs. They really work on the finer details. So now in the final four, it's time to figure out who's going to be in our final. We're only going to get one winner today.
Here you go, Virgil Choisit. He's running the VR. Seen his camera before. He's going to be in the lead. The BMW, red BMW coming in with a nice flick, going to that first out of zone, ripping that e-brake. And look at Martinez Ostreika being super aggressive, rubbing that front tire on the pocket and the door of my man Choisit as he is going into outer zone 3 and 4. Beautiful fail outs. Look at how composed Martinez is, using the left foot brake to slow himself down and keep the close proximity and not lose it.
Here we go on the replay. A lot of proximity right there. I mean, he knew that he had to knock out his teammate in order to get here, so now he really wants to separate himself and make sure that he makes it known that at least someone on the team ends up on that podium. So he does a great job getting in here, but there's a little bit of a gap that could be closer that's kind of left throughout the entire run. So I'm curious to know if that's going to be a high point of focus for the chase driver on this next run.
Is there a horsepower cap for VDM? Just wondering. So they do similar restrictions like how Driftmasters has tire limits. But here we go. We're going to go back to that statement. Here, Virtual Choices in the chase. Martinez Ostreika in the lead. And beautiful angle going to the second outer zone and inner clip 1 transition. And look at Virtual Choices being as aggressive, snapping the angle, but he needs to reel in the proximity like Martinez was doing in the first chase. And it looks like there's some gap being made, but look at the tire rub on that door.
Checking this replay, looking at the rotation there onto the first corner. Does a great job getting the outside zone. Proximity is definitely there. We're looking for him to get really nice and tidy, though, because of the fact that there was a pretty big gap left before. He does a great job keeping the proximity through the power alley, through this outside zone. Seems like he steps back a little bit, just leaves room for the bumper. And then right here, we see him try to grab door again with a little bit of contact as they come across the finish line.
Virtual Choices represented the Door Breakers drift team. And these guys actually, a lot of these guys here that do the sim, like Martinez and his teammate, they have sponsors that some of these drivers do get paid to play on the sim, or not play, to practice on the sim. And it's fantastic to see that. You got Strom Wheels as the sponsor for Drift Masters. You see the Yokohama tires, and some of these guys, they just like the parts sometimes for like tire wise. Oh, I'd rather represent Yokohama or Valino, so on and so forth, or Extreme. There we go. We got a judge's decision. Left. Looks like we have a little hiccup. On the graphic here, and if David Kalas would like to come in here and explain the judge's decision.
Yeah, so the winner is Virgil, and it all comes to the second run where Martinez, when he was coming from outer zone 1 to outer zone 2, he was not able to fill the zone from the beginning. He was starting to getting in there in first third of the zone. He needed to also left foot brake to get into the zone, and it was quite big. It was possible for us to decide in that moment.
All right, there you have it. Choisit gets to win and moves on to the battle of first and second. Ostreika is going to be battling for third place. Now, these two guys have battled each other multiple times in Virtual Drift Masters as well as in other sim competitions. You got Alan Hynes. You have Ernestus Jaku Bellis. Jaku is the 2024 champion for VDM. You have Alan Hynes being out here, a straight shredder, a Drift Masters driver. Here we go. Jaku Bellis coming in for that nice initiation. Ripping that e-brake, getting to the outer zone. And look at Alan Hynes matching the angle, getting super aggressive as Jaku Bellis is being as smooth as possible in the lead. Oh, contact with the wall. A little bit too fast going there as the tire drops and going into the final turn. This is uncharacteristic for Jaku Bellis.
Usually at this point, the pressure is either going to make or break people as they come to this outside zone. Hynes and Jaku doing a great job, both keeping angle, keeping close to each other as they come through the power alley. This is where we start to see the setup to, I think, a lot of issues there. We see a touch and go bump there on the wall, and then we see a really deep dive here, almost dropping a tire. I think I saw a little bit of dirt kick up, and then we come across this last zone. So, yeah, like you mentioned, uncharacteristic of Jaku. We'll have to see what's going to happen here. Hynes is hopefully being told by his spotter, hey, lay it down clean, don't touch the wall. Just do what you've been doing all day, because Hynes has been locked in from the beginning to the end of this competition.
This is our final battle for our top four. So the winner moves on to battle of first and second place. The loser moves on to the battle of third place. So just because you lose doesn't mean you can't get a podium. Here we go, Alan Hynes in that first outer zone. And look at Jaku Bellis matching the angle right off the rip. And then using that angle so slow himself down a little bit so he can go into this power alley. Alan Hynes is unfazed, laser focused, biting down on his lip so he can make sure he can get every inch of that track. And he does. Alan Hynes. Insane.
So here through the outside zone, great proximity from Jaku. He's really staying way closer than I think Hynes did on that first run. As it come through here, he does a great job just filling out these zones. Remember, we're coming back from Jaku touching the walls a couple times. So right now he knows he's got to apply pressure. That's at least the advantage of making the mistake on that first run, is that on the second one, you can just try to apply as much pressure as possible. And it looks like he did stay a little bit closer. So now the question is that going to be enough for the judges to weigh it more than touching the wall? And it looks like it's not. Hynes gets the win.
Hynes gets the win for first and second place. And now we're going to see an insane battle for third place. Jaku Bellis versus Martinez Ostreika. And you're going to see an insane battle. Virgil Choisit versus Alan Hynes. These guys are just demons on the track. That's the only definition I could give for these sim drivers. Alan Hynes just being cool and composed. Martinez is the same way, but he's able to be super aggressive when he's versing teammates like Jaku Bellis.
And now it's official. We're going to have our final B first. So this is for third place, which means now officially we're back to a teammate versus teammate battle. Only the question is, who is going to be on the podium? There will be only one, and its best case scenario is now third place. So
battle for third place. Martinez Ostreika in the chase. Jaku Bellis in the lead. Beautiful fill out. Going to the first outer zone. Look at Martinez as he's getting super aggressive with the BMW E36 going into that first outer zones. Going to the outer zone 3. Beautiful fill out. The east zone is super aggressive from Jaku Bellis. Going to that final outer zone. My goodness.
Here we go. Nice initiation teammate on teammate battle as they get into this outside zone here, being really close to each other. You can tell that these guys drive with each other often and know each other's driving style. They seem very confident to predict each other's movements. Coming through the power alley, they keep that proximity. They're just leaving enough room for the bumper to transition through. Does a great job stepping forward on the line there, but keeps it within the pocket the entire time.
How are you feeling on this battle, Alec?
I feel like the BMW is going to take it.
I just don't like you said that. Here we go. We got Jaku Bellis in the chase. Martinez Ostreika in the lead. And look at the BMW getting good angle as he's getting the close proximity. And Martinez Ostreika in the lead, rubbing that back bumper on the second outer wall. Going to that decel zone and into the final outer wall. And look at Jaku Bellis absolutely slaying.
This right here, it looks like Jaku really wants to do a good job at just closing that gap and keeping it really close on proximity. He does a great job just being smooth and matching angle, and he understands that this is going to be really where you can improve. Proximity is always something you can do better. Unless your tire is rubbing on that fender the entire run, there's always a way to get closer, and he seems to answer that call. He looks for those opportunities, and he takes great use of them.
But we have a winner. Judges have come to a decision. And we're waiting for the graphic to come up. The winner is a BMW.
And will be part of the ROS Marine team.
And it is blue and white. And it looks like...
And it has 5-piece wheels in the back.
Ernestus Jaku Bellis gets the win. And the explanation was Martinez had corrections on his lead on outer zone 4 compared to Jaku. So Jaku gets third place. And now we have our final battle. Choisit versus Alan Hynes. You're insane. Our final battle of round 3, and it's absolutely banger after banger.
I think we actually had someone earlier in the competition say Hynes was going to win. So if that does happen, I would like you to reach out to me, DM me, because I'd like to introduce you to this thing I like to call gambling. And you and I are going to go, and we're going to put it all on black.
My oh my. Our last battle of Virtual Drift Masters, sponsored by Strom Wheels, Ragnar Simulator, and Money. We are here in Finland. Alan Hynes in the chase. Virtual Choisit in the lead. We're waiting for the lights. Sim cams on. Here we go. Virtual Choisit in that red BMW, coming in with a big Scandinavian flick. Right to angle. Look at Alan Hynes. Matching the angle, going into outer zone 2. Beautiful fill out from the lead driver. Virtual Choisit, as he goes to enter clip, gets right to that reference point and rubbing that second outer wall with that BMW, going to that decel zone. Beautiful fill out as well. And look at Alan Hynes stepping forward in the pocket so he can rub that front tire onto the door of Virtual Choisit.
Choisit looking to run away and try to shake Hynes off his tail with some aggressive flicks and aggressive movements. He handles the entire course with great confidence. However, Hynes is just, his car is an extension of himself, and he's understanding how to read Choisit, look for those opportunities to keep proximity, and then he goes ahead and he implements it. So right here we even see it too. He falls a little bit back, leaves room for the transition, and then dives back again. And here we see again just really nice angle matching, shadowing the lead driver.
Here is the second half of our final battle. The winner gets first place. Here we go. Virtual Choisit in the chase now. Alan Hynes in the lead, stepping left, stepping right, snapping the angle to the first outer zone and getting into outer zone 2. Beautiful fill out. Look at Virtual Choisit. Didn't that left foot brake so he could stay close proximity but not make contact with Alan Hynes. But Alan Hynes lifts up that inside tire, the 3-wheel and Rilla going into that first and final zone. Absolutely outstanding.
He was looking to hold on for dear life at the end of that run. He saw a little bit of contact and pushes into the wall. We got to see who wants it more as they come across here. A little bit of a fallback. We're looking for Choisit to give room for the bumper and get back on him again. He does it right here. As he transition towards here, Alan Hynes does a great job sweeping right towards the edge of the track. Choisit uses this moment here to give a little tap, and then he starts pushing him against the wall right there. Alan Hynes is able to stay in it, but that was a pretty aggressive amount of contact to make. And granted, this is virtual, so it's a little easier for the car to glide across the wall. But that would have been very difficult to not turn into a crash in real life. So we got the chat up, guys. Go ahead and vote in the poll whether you think Hynes got it or Choisit has got it. Because right here, the judges are taking a look at it. They're going to come and try to come to a solution here as to who's the winner. But you never know. It could also go one more time. We may be just about to get a winner for this round of Virtual Drift Masters.
And the judges have
the
come
judges
to
have
the
come to the
decision. Who's winning? Left for Choisit, right for Hynes. And Alan Hynes gets the win for round 3 of Virtual Drift Masters. Virtual Choisit gets second place, and Jaku Bellens gets third.
There we go, and they're celebrating on track in Drift Masters tradition, doing donuts around each other. Great sportsmanship, willing to just celebrate it. I mean, I think Choisit definitely understands in that instance that, you know, he made a mistake. He came through. He came in a little too hot. You know, kudos to both drivers. They both made it this far, which would not have happened without tremendous driving the entire day. Just be consistent, take out their opponents leading up to the final.
Yeah, and definitely if you guys want to get merch too, go to shop.dm.gp, use code Finland to get 10% off of everything, as well as grab your tickets for the next round. You see here the bracket for the Virtual Drift Master, sponsored by Strom Wheels, Ragnar Simulator, and Money, and I am super enthused. And now we have this whole bracket was crazy. Alec, your thoughts on this. Last round was your first round doing Virtual Drift Masters. Going to this round, what are your expectations throughout the season now?
Yeah, so this far into the season, we're really starting to see where those points stack up. So a lot of the drivers are probably starting to accept their fate. If they're further down in the standing than they wanted to be, then they're going to be in a position where even if they won first place every single round, it may not be enough to keep up with the current point standing. Some people have had, unfortunately, some serious breaks where they're tremendous drivers, but they've made contact, and that's taken them out of the bracket entirely. Others have unfortunately maybe had a bad qualifying run. I mean, things that don't make it onto the stream are things as simple as someone could have been about to put up a 100-point qualifying run and they make one mistake that turns it into a 0 very quickly. So, but for the ones that are higher in the point standing, this is where they're starting to garner some confidence and some mixed emotions, because some are hanging on by a thread, some are starting to get a more commanding lead. Anyone who is, in your top 5 is currently looking to just really push forward. So right now we're about, we're almost about halfway through the season. We've got 7 rounds total, and that concluded our round 3. So if you're in first place, there's still, you're feeling pretty good, but it's still anyone's game this early in the season. Being about halfway through, we're looking for some people to seriously step up, and hopefully people who are watching this are wanting to try and get involved. One thing that's very different about Drift Masters versus, real life drifting is you don't have to get to the point of having a $100,000 or more a year program in order to jump in and do this. It takes the skill, it takes the car, it takes the track knowledge, and just the seat time. And clearly we see that level of accessibility mean that the competition is just that much more fierce for Drift Masters Virtual.
Yeah, if you guys want to get more information on Virtual Drift Masters, you just go to vdm.gp. I want to say thank you to everybody that's been supportive in the chat and making this a great entertaining spectator and commentator venue here at the Drift Masters YouTube. I want to thank you guys. I'll see you guys in round 4. Actually, you'll see both of us in round 4 for Mondello. And if you haven't gotten your tickets, get your tickets at Drift Masters so you guys can enjoy it. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and I bid you guys adieu.
Virtual Drift Masters is back in 2025, and it's coming in hot. This season, 10 Drift Masters pros step into the sim to battle 40 of the last season's best virtual drivers in a showdown like no other. With 7 rounds of high-stakes action and top 32 broadcasts every Sunday, the stage is set for something legendary. And calling all the action, you may ask? It's me, Tiny, bringing the hype, the energy, and every tire-shredding moment. This is Virtual Drift Masters 2025. Let's go. Virtual Drift.